You're up and it's still dark. Kick back with a cup of joe. You know you've got friends waiting on 1620 The Zone. It's Happer and Schaefer. It's Connor and Mike. Listen on the radio stream or YouTube or podcasts. Anytime it feels right. It's Happer and Schaefer.
Hey, good morning and welcome in. Happy Tuesday. It's Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you this morning. Hi, gents. What's up?
Good morning.
Good morning.
You look like you're going to play golf right now.
I know. I dress for what I'd like to be doing.
Okay. All right.
You know, instead of dressing for the job that you have or the job that you want or whatever.
Yeah.
I'm just dressing for the
Dressing
recreational
for the
activity that I wish that I was doing today.
That's how they say it, right? Dress for the recreational activity that you want to be doing at any given time.
It seems like
Tomorrow,
a perfect
Schaefer.
day for golfing.
It really does. We have apparently no winds, which I'm always worried about.
That's nice.
This time of year.
League
And
for me
temperatures are
starts
going to get to the 80s.
Again.
Yeah.
Incredible stuff.
Tomorrow should be good as well. League opens tomorrow, so I can go shoot a 52 or something.
Nice. Will it be windy tomorrow?
I don't think as much.
If we get 2 consecutive days in the 70s or 80s with no wind, then I don't even know what we're doing. The world might be about to end.
It's looking about the same tomorrow.
Holy crap.
And then it'll get worse.
And
Yep.
then it'll get
Thursday worse. Friday even worse than Thursday. Saturday worse than Friday. Sunday back to decent.
Okay. All right. Well, that's actually probably pretty good for Nebraska baseball. They want some icky weather this weekend with USC coming to town.
Yeah.
Those California boys don't like the icky
Pick
weather.
it up on them.
Yeah.
Didn't sometime last year, I think it was USC or no, this year, they played in the snow over at Northwestern.
That's right. And they lost one of the games,
Probably.
I think. Something like that.
Yeah, Nebraska once had Garrett Cole, Trevor Bauer, and
That's
Adam Plutko in town. 3 future Major League Baseball pitchers for the Bruins.
That's right.
The UCLA Bruins. Before UCLA was in the Big Ten, I think the highest temperature of any of those 3 March games was like 38
Yeah,
degrees.
it was like mid-30s.
Just frigid and awful.
USC, by the way, who is number 8 in the RPI right now, did lose a snow game to Northwestern this year, which is incredible. Which is their, I guess they've lost 5 times in the league. They were swept by UCLA
comfortably in second place in the Big Ten. So
they also
you win this series this weekend, you were very much in the driver's.
USC also dropped a game to Maryland out on the East Coast at Bob Turtle Smith Stadium this year. But they lost a game to Northwestern in the snow. Now, I don't think it's going to be that bad, although I have no proclamations on whether it was going to snow or not this weekend.
Do you still have their schedule pulled up?
I do.
How high scoring was the Maryland game?
They lost a Maryland game 6-4.
Okay. Maryland, I feel like, has a relatively small field, so it can get kind of crazy.
You never know about this college baseball field.
Yeah.
It's like when you go play Butler. You go play Butler.
You were telling me about this.
The Butler thing is absurd.
Probably scored 30 runs on them.
Well, they did famously give that up this year. I don't know if that was at home or where it was,
I'll take a look.
So they were 3-0 to start league play because I think they swept Villanova or something like that last weekend. Butler, who is, like you said, Joey, has famously lost a game by a lot of runs this year.
That was on the road at Wichita State.
Yeah, that's right. And then they went and they beat UConn in the series opener, who's the conference favorite, at home. And I'm just like, anything could happen at Butler. Anything could happen at Butler.
I believe it.
But Butler will have to come here this year to Omaha to play baseball. I don't think they'll probably like that very much. But I guess we'll find out. So that's a look ahead to what each of our teams tonight have going on after this evening. Nebraska and Creighton, round 2 at Haymarket Park. Yes, a perfect night for baseball. and a perfect night for golf if you'd like to do your recreational activities that way. Or you could join at the ballpark. I imagine it'll be a pretty good crowd.
I would expect a good crowd tonight for sure. The weather being what it is, kind of maybe one of the better midweek weather games. I feel like a lot of the midweek weather games haven't been particularly good.
You just never know what you're going to get.
Right.
And here we are. We're set up for a pretty nice night. And then there's still one more game in the first or second week of May between these two teams as well. So they'll go for round 2 tonight. We will dive into the matchup a little bit as we go on throughout the show today. We have Mitch Sherman coming on the show at 8:30 as always. We have Jacob Padilla at 9:15 as always. As Joey mentioned before we went on the air, Jacob Padilla's Suns do play in a play-in game tonight in the NBA play. The NBA playoffs technically start tonight.
Wow.
So the Suns and the Blazers are playing on Prime Video during Jacob Padilla time, which is at 9:00, and it is the 7th place versus 8th place game. So the winner is automatically in.
Yeah, the
7.
Yeah, and they would play the Spurs in the first round. Probably a good question would be, who would you be more fearful of, either the Spurs or the Thunder in the first round?
Ooh, okay, we'll have to remember that.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm assuming you'd rather play the Spurs just because the Thunder are
they have some championship pedigree.
Yeah. Plus,
but I don't know about I don't know what the right matchup is for the tall unicorn guy.
Yeah, well,
that is true.
He seems difficult.
He does.
Yeah.
And other people say that they haven't even fully opened him up yet. He's still on a minutes plan and everything else.
Yeah, they like to play a lot of guys, and the Spurs beat the Thunder, I think, 3 out of the 4 times this season.
I do know that.
They have a really good season. I think they have a great chance of getting to the finals over to the Thunder.
So Jacob will join us coming up at 9:15 today. That is our lineup. We will also jump into the power rankings with tiers with our favorite pasta noodles, not pasta dishes, although I'm sure they will come up. Pasta noodles. Basically, we're talking shapes. There are some different flavors and textures and things like that to deal with these pastas, but mostly we're talking about what do you like to look at?
And textures.
And what do you like to, I don't even want to say what I was going to say out loud. So that is coming up
have a guess.
at 7:30 today. Elsewhere, today on the show, of course, we'd like to hear from you all. 402-951-1620 on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone Hotline. You can call or text that number. Tweet at HappenSchafe, at Connor Happer, at Mike J. Schaefer, although I'm not sure he does have a phone.
I have a phone.
Schaefer forgot his computer, which seems almost impossible to me. I'm not really sure how this happens.
Well, what happened was I got in my car and then I left my house and the computer was still at my house. And then I got all the way down here and I was like, well, I don't have a computer.
That is a good, that makes sense
the
now.
summation of everything.
Well, look at it on the bright side, Mike. You did not leave your keys in the car. You did not throw your keys in the trash can, or you did not leave your drink in the bathroom.
That's true.
Well, it's something with Tuesdays, apparently. Last Tuesday, I was late. This Tuesday, I don't have a computer. So I don't know what it is. Second day of the week. I'm just a mess.
I have long said that Tuesday is the worst day of the week.
Yeah.
I hate Tuesday.
Oh, yeah, I forgot you famously forgot to wake up last Tuesday.
We'll see what I forget next week. First, I forgot myself or the time, whichever one you want to go with.
Yeah.
Then it was the computer, which really, the computer largely only exists so people can see me on the stream.
Yeah,
I can live without the computer.
I got the studio.
They can kind of see it, but
so,
now they just get more me.
Yeah,
you get to see me drinking my coffee.
I'd rather that. You're more the front man.
Of course, you'd rather that.
So just of the two, this seems like a much better thing to forget than myself entirely.
I agree.
So
I think you could survive without a computer.
Yeah, I'm not really worried about surviving without a computer.
It's just it's just funny to me how so there was a whole backpack. You usually have a whole entire backpack. You just
backpack sitting on the couch.
You just strolled out of the house.
The thing that's weird. I didn't even grab my computer, which was charging to put in the backpack. It's just I just got off track slightly.
That I can understand. the computer sits out on the desk or whatever,
Sure.
and you're working the previous. And
But
you
no,
pick
there
up-
was no even grabbing of the backpack.
You pick up your backpack and leave. But I think, like, for me, it's basically muscle memory. I grab my backpack and I leave. And if my stuff is not in my backpack, I'll probably notice it because of the weight of it.
Yeah.
Like, there's a lot of fail safes that are in there that you just blew right through.
Well, and so there's just a lot of just slightly different things that were occurring this morning that would normally occur.
That throws you off.
And so then, like, each one of those, I think, just contributed its own slight way to what's happening. For instance, this weekend, Sunday night, we made the decision we're moving our son out of a crib and into a bed.
Okay.
Which is a challenge, as he now has the freedom to get out of the bed, out of the room, run down the hallway, run into our room, announce his presence, run back to his room, climb onto the bed, climb off of the bed, run back down the hallway, tell us that he's going back to bed. And this happened roughly about 1,000 times Sunday night. So that was Sunday night. Monday went better, but then he started waking up overnight. So Sunday he slept through the night, whatever. Then he starts waking up, and then, like, I'm getting ready to leave, and then I walk out, and there's just our son just sitting on our bed looking at me.
Chilling.
It's like, all right, this is different. There's just little deviations, other things. So
Definitely throw you off.
just like slightly off, and then I arrived here, and there's just no way I was getting the book bag in time for any of this to matter.
Okay. All right.
So here we are.
There's the explanation, the full explanation for Mike Schaefer. Thank you for answering questions.
Yeah, I
at your
think people
press
want
conference.
details.
They
Certainly.
do. They do.
They demand answers.
So call, tweet, email Connor, Mike, Joey at 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. We take banking personally, answer the phone on the first ring, and of course, leave a comment on the YouTube stream. Sal is wondering, is stuffed pasta judged the same on the pasta tiers? Yes, that's the way I interpreted it.
Yeah, I don't think I had any, like.
So a ravioli.
Yeah, I have them.
A tortellini.
I don't have tortellini listed.
Okay,
that could be a mistake. So
sometimes I really was exhaustive last night in putting this together.
Spent a lot of time jumping around. There's stuff that I just left off because I don't feel like I have it enough to bother ranking.
Did you see? Well, you may not have, because you famously don't have a computer.
I
right
did
now.
see that you have a listed in there about pronunciation could be difficult.
Well, I put the lit. I'm very excited to see if there is any, like, people with Italian heritage who listen to this segment
that
and
are just like
listen to us talk about our favorite pastas, which are like all the white American pastas. And then probably, I guess I'm assuming.
I think you're on the right track.
The pronunciations of it. But I did put there is a Wikipedia page that is list of pasta.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just all the possibilities
Sure.
of the pasta, which I think is great and really opened up my mind a little bit more on some things. That was helpful to me. So yeah, I think the stuffed pastas are definitely included. Mike writes in, he says, I will be pissed if farfalle is ranked low. Well, stay tuned. You might be not pissed on my list.
Yeah, as far as I remember, and I sent it to Joey, so I have it on my phone. So I have my actual.
It exists.
I think that's comfortably in a good spot.
All right, little bow tie.
Frankly, unlike the appetizers, there's no tier where it's like, yeah, I absolutely won't eat this. That's sort of the thing with pasta.
I love pasta.
Yeah,
I had
the lowest tier stuff I'm still willing to eat. I'm just not as excited about those dishes and that noodle.
I wanted pasta on Sunday night, so that's what I did.
Ooh, nice.
I ordered pasta from a pasta restaurant.
Oh,
not Olive Garden, and not
Good.
not the other one. The Carrabba's.
Never go to Olive
I have
Garden.
not been to Carrabba's.
I kind of don't mind Olive Garden. Like, I get it. I it is what it is, but people have such a big problem with it, and I don't really get
So
it.
the last time I was there was like 8 years ago. I had real bad food poisoning.
Oh,
So that
And Olive Garden takes less overall flack than California Pizza Kitchen.
Yeah, yes.
That tells you
Yes.
how bad his frozen California Pizza Kitchen experience.
and
Well, I just don't like the combination of
California
what
and
yeah.
pizza.
I just don't like the combination. It just doesn't make sense, and it did not taste good.
you don't think they make good pizza in the state of California?
No, I don't think so. It's stupid. Doesn't make
Oh,
sense.
man.
I guess
I'm now
I-
imagining a world where Joey goes on a great pizza adventure in California to see if there's any good pizza here.
Now that is
And
a
it's
great
just a
bit.
bunch of videos of him taking a bite and is like, no, throwing it away.
I recently went to California and I don't really remember having any pizza at all. So that
don't think
I can't
did when
confirm
I, was
or
in
I would just
California
pull-
either.
I'll just pull the Dave Portnoy one bite challenge.
That's
Just
what
go
I
to
mean. Like,
California
you'll just take
Pizza
a singular
Kitchen,
bite.
take a video, and then just eat it, and then just immediately spit it out because I know what the taste is
I
going to
do
be.
love the idea of Joey's great pizza adventure. Like,
It's-
somehow we have to make this a thing.
and we combine it with a bunch of interstate challenges.
That's basically what it is. Joey rates the interstate and the pizza.
I'm here at the intersection of I-80 and whatever else is in San Francisco, and I'm trying pizza, and I'm spitting it out. Blech.
Joey's
I'm over in
interstate
South
pizza
Bend,
adventure.
Indiana, at the I-80, I-90 Turnpike. Stop at whatever rest area they got over there. They'll have a pizza somewhere.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat
This
this
is a Piccadilly's
barbecue chicken pizza that I know is
You're
going
gonna
to
have
taste
Hunt
real
Brothers
bad.
pizza.
Oh yeah, Schaefer's visited this place before.
No, what I'm talking about is just the various like pizza chains that exist inside gas stations
In the rest stops, yeah.
Yeah, that aren't Casey's.
They have
or
the
whatever.
in Indiana when you're traveling through Indiana, they have the nice like rest stops with the food court
Rest areas.
inside.
It used to be really bad. It used to be extremely disgusting. They had to gut like all those places out.
Really?
Yeah.
to
So they
renovate
have them where like there's no real exit. You can't get off and like
So
explore
Illinois, I'm
towns,
familiar
but
with
they
that.
have
You meet in the middle.
you either have one where you meet in the middle or they have dueling ones on
Gotcha.
each side
it's
that look
dependent.
exactly the same.
I would think meeting in the middle makes more sense
You would think
from an economical and efficiency.
sometimes there's two.
That's sometimes there's two.
I've stopped at many of those rest areas
You're-
in the state of Ohio and Indiana.
You reminded
is a
me of one of
long
my
turnpike.
favorite things of Casey's just taking over all the gas stations. There'd be a Casey's across from a Casey's in
Yep,
there
various
would be.
places
Yep.
in Lincoln and Omaha.
And it's the visual that more than anything.
Yeah, it's just
Now, these rest areas aren't necessarily branded; they're just rest stops.
Sure.
But they do have the food courts. There's like 4 or 5 choices on the inside. It's like almost a mini old school mall food court,
Okay.
which they
Yeah.
do a pretty good job. There's
There's, like,
snacks and
chains
drinks
in there. I'm assuming.
Yeah, like I had a Jimmy John's one
Yep.
time.
Okay.
They usually keep the same, depending on the state. I think they usually keep the same companies that are in the rest
Well, a
areas.
lot of it's Yum, right? Like, so that's Pizza Hut, Taco Bell,
Yeah.
all of those brands.
Yeah, they'll have like a pizza
KFC.
place. They'll have like a burger place, probably a chicken place. That's some areas.
Follow the money. Wendy's is a common one.
yeah. I think
When-
that's,
yeah.
that might be part of the Yum.
Wendy's be all up in rest stops. All up in rest stops. Mike says rank and
Dick
tier.
Thomas believed in rest stops when he was putting that thing.
He
together.
did. Rank and tier the states by their pizza. Ooh, we would have controversy at the top.
Rank and tier states by pizza. Then I would have to like really work back where I've had pizza
I mean,
in my life.
I just think you could do like you could just immediately eliminate like 30 states.
I know
Just take out 30 of them immediately.
I know a guy who could definitely
Probably.
rank the state pizzas because he would travel across the country to go to different college football stadiums,
Sure.
MLB, ILB stadiums, bowling alleys, but his go-to places for meals are pizza joints.
Like
so-
local, I'm assuming.
Yeah,
Okay.
I'm assuming.
There would be a big controversy at the top. There would be a battle
Definitely,
between
definitely.
New York and Connecticut.
I was gonna say Connecticut's the other big one, right?
Mhm.
Then you have like the state of Illinois demanding that Chicago be represented just by itself.
And then UConn would say, we're the basketball capital of the world.
Then Detroit pops in with we're having a moment. Everybody likes our pizza style now. And St. Louis says, "What about us?" And Michael Severe personally pops up.
emos?
Then Matt McMaster storms in to make his case for Chicago style pizza.
Yeah, definitely.
Have you heard Severe rant about St. Louis style pizza?
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I would love to
regards
hear
St.
it.
Louis is the lowest culinary city in America, so it's the next time you just have a chance to lose 5 minutes.
I do hear the St. Louis people talking about emos all the time, and it makes me want to try. Like I never had it in my multiple trips.
I don't think
to
I've had the
Arch
actual
Madness,
style.
but I don't know. I'm interested. And then you have like, there's like one representative from Lincoln, Nebraska, who's like, "Hey, have you ever tried putting cream cheese on your pizza?" And everyone's like, "Get out of here, Lincoln, Nebraska! Beat it, kid!" Nobody wants to talk to you.
That's amazing.
So just a thought exercise there. Elsewhere today on the show, we might jump into one of those other. We haven't got to the Husker football topics in total that we were going to do. So maybe today is a good day to do that. But there, of course, is a basketball topic. Price Sanford is back to Nebraska basketball. Biggest returning player since who?
Yeah, I'm fascinated by this. I want people to hit us up, call in, text in, hit us on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed at Happen Schaefer, at Mike J. Schaefer, at Connor Happer.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really curious who people would say is the best returning junior to senior or even sophomore to junior that Nebraska's had. Because I know there's like the emotional responses of recent years of you'd say like Bryce Williams and Keisei Tominaga, even a James Palmer or a Taran Petaway.
Have they ever had a first team all conference player return?
Those guys were all good. And as someone who really liked Taran Petaway and appreciated the fact that he played with one other maybe offensive player ever in the entirety of his career, I have a strong appreciation for it. What Price Sanford did last year is not comparable for any of those other players. Like, I mean, he was a first all Big Ten player. And he's coming back, and he was doing it, we learned, while largely, affected by this hernia that's more or less preventing him from even doing the NBA thing.
He also happened to win 2 NCAA tournament games.
Yeah, well, there's that.
So that helps.
And he was
as well.
the best player on the court for both of those.
He most certainly was.
And arguably the best player overall in the Sweet 16 game, even though Nebraska didn't win.
So we will discuss all of those things on the show, or that thing in particular on the show today. A couple other interesting things. I saw this Nebraska silent auction going on that I clicked on. There's some cool things.
There's some stuff.
Yeah, I am intrigued as to what's going to happen with some of those things. Creighton, Nebraska baseball round 2 tonight. Tom Chattel wrote a little. He talked with Alan Huss about Creighton and sort of what's going on with.
Did you ask him about the picture that his team is putting out of him on the monster truck bus?
Oh, no. Yeah.
Can you imagine?
He should have. Hey, have you seen this? I'm sure he has. Right?
I love Tom. I would have paid money to have Tom ask that question.
Damn it! If I would have known that Tom was going in there to talk to him, I would have said, "Hey, Tom, I'm going to send you this picture. Just show it to him and ask him if he's seen it before." Yeah. I could ask him at some point when we see him next. Also, some fascinating data in from the Masters from over the weekend.
I'm not sure. I saw this topic and I was like, I don't want to know about it. I'm going to learn about it when everybody else does.
Perfect. All right, we're off and running on Tuesday. Thanks for being with us, everybody, on a beautiful Tuesday, or at least we think it will be when the sun comes out. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer, Joey Colbert with you this morning on Happer Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com, the Zone Radio Network, and of course, everywhere in the world, the Zone mobile app. We will have a way for you later on in the show to win Zach Bryan tickets. Predictably, we did not come up with a game yet again. That's why we need a little Joey at our house to remind us when we're both sort of getting prepared for the show the next day. We need little Joey there to say, you forgot again to make a game show, and yet he was not there.
I sat down last night, was looking at the rundown, did my pasta types, put in the Sanford stuff, and then was like, oh yeah, I told Joey I was going to do something with this Mitch Sherman Open. And so I started working on that for a while. Just completely ignored everything else.
Radio producer Mike.
I've got
concepts of a plan.
I just remember a long time ago you were thinking about writing lyrics for the song. I just did not want to rush you, but
I talked with Stibbs. He's on board.
Sweet.
We just have to figure out the actual recording of all of this.
Okay. Wow. It sounds like a big production.
Well, you're
Stibbs gets another song credit on 1620 The Zone.
Well, I don't want to sing it. Joey doesn't want to sing it.
I mean, I don't care if I sing it, but I just know I'm pretty bad.
Ask Matt. Matt says he's a great singer.
Well, that's not a
we got some musical talent.
You know what the parody of the song is, right?
I can't remember.
Okay, well, I don't want to spoil it here, but I'll ask Matt during the crossover or before the crossover, and we'll
I'm
see
sure
how
he'll
you feel
do
about this idea.
Well, actually,
do I need to remind you?
It wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, honestly, it seems like a service that you're willing to offer. I'm going to accept it.
That is a great idea, Joey. You should put a Craigslist thing out there. It's like, I'll remind you of stuff.
Joey's reminders. Craigslist, Angie's list, Joey's reminders.
I had a good reminder yesterday that I was going to get my Baylor Shireman jersey, and I was talking about that after the morning show, and then turns out
it showed up.
It showed up right on cue.
I saw Joey with a picture of a Baylor Shireman jersey.
I did see that on
Now Twitter. You have to get the weird random tattoos and haircut that he has.
I thought I was going to need a cast for the left thumb, but it looks like he doesn't have one on anymore, but he'll still do the celebration. So apparently Jalen Suggs. Oh yeah, there he is on TV. But anyway, apparently Jalen Suggs was mocking his little celebration when he tied the game at the very end, and then it's too bad that Baylor. Excuse me. It's too bad Baylor did not hit the game-winning shot. It was Luka Garza, but it was kind of funny to see that backfired on the Magic.
Player.
I know. It's all a bunch of college all-stars, basically.
Yeah, Luka Garza, John Tonje, Delano Banton, Baylor Shireman, Jordan Walsh, former Virginia. Then there's three other guys that
there's your actual
Baylor team. With the way he is, it's sort of an easy target to get made fun of by other NBA players. He doesn't care.
Yeah, he doesn't really care, and a lot of Celtics fans love him. He's a fan favorite player.
No, he's definitely a Celtic. That much is for sure. He's most certainly a Celtic.
I'm excited to see what he can do in the playoffs.
People have mixed opinions on this person as well. Rory McIlroy.
Okay.
Do they like him?
I thought he was pretty well liked up until now. He's apparently, because he uses a PJ, and
there always has to be a counter. Did you finally hear about this thing that I explained to you yesterday? No, I just heard your version of it. Everyone was still talking about it yesterday.
Okay.
Which you made me wonder if I was creating a straw man, but it was a real thing.
It didn't come up in any of the avenues of which golf comes up for me, which are group chats, Twitter, and my in-laws. So
yeah, I saw a bunch of clips of people having opinions on it
to talk about it. So I feel like I just somehow avoided it.
So Rory, two-time winner of the Masters. What happens when you win is you have this whole counter, culture, and people try to pick some things out. So he is, I don't know about polarizing, but there's some people who dislike him and want to see him explode, which I got to be honest with you, I am always rooting for just about everybody when it comes to a person with a 2-stroke lead at the Masters on the final 2 holes.
Well, you want the drama. Yeah.
Right. It was nothing personal, but
and he'd already won it. So how, it's like when Jordan Spieth put it in the water when it looked like he was about to win again.
Yeah.
And then Danny Willett ends up winning it. You're
There's
like,
like
how bad could it be? And then it's like, actually, his entire career largely shifted in that moment.
Yeah,
But,
and we still to this day have to remember that Danny Willett won the Masters.
which is a sentence.
That happened.
It did.
That was a real life thing. So he is an investor in Whoop. Do you know what Whoop is?
Just the song.
Not Whoop. There it is. Whoop is a it tracks your movements and your how healthy you're being, how many steps you're taking. It's one of those wristbands that you see. So he was wearing one during the Masters. So he's an investor in this Whoop, and he wears one of the bands while he's playing golf. And occasionally he will allow Whoop to publish some of the data that he had, coming from his wristband during a specific round of golf. And he did for Sunday at the Masters. So if you've ever wondered about what happens to your heart rate and how many steps you might have to take to win Sunday at the Masters, here's some information for you. He took more than 24,000 steps on Sunday alone.
Sheesh.
So if you multiply that by 4, we're talking about in the neighborhood of 100,000 steps over just the tournament over the weekend for whoever is playing in it. So it said 91,000 plus steps during the tournament. Rory's heart rate spiked to 135 beats per minute during his tee shot on 18. And then dropped to 121 beats per minute during his approach shot, fell further to 105 beats per minute during his winning putt, and then spiked up to 150 as he, screamed in the air and celebrated. His resting heart rate for the week, he's in great shape, and a lot has been made about that. 47 to 49.
That,
which is like a turtle, basically,
is incredible.
Yeah.
Wow. Like, I was thinking you'd be like, it's 61, 64, somewhere in there. No,
high 40s.
That's really,
and
really
so
impressive.
Think about the pressure that he is feeling when he goes up to 18. You could literally see it in his heart rate, which is absurd. It's more than
which I wouldn't, it's weird. I would have guessed that the approach shot on 15 that he barely snuck over the water there, I would have guessed that would have had a higher spike because of how you visibly saw him react.
I know. Yeah.
Like, even his tee shot, it was almost more of like, well, of course I did this, versus the shot on 15 was like, oh man, I totally stole that. And so maybe
it was
maybe
a huge sigh of relief for sure. But coming up to 18, like, he knows basically it's over as long as he hits a halfway decent shot. And then he didn't, and was still.
And then he was still fine. Like, if he really needed to make the first putt, I think he would have probably been a little bit more drilled in on it. But he knew he just needed to stick it close for the second.
Rory also says, this is from Joe Pompliano, who is a sports business guy. You see a lot of tweets from him from time to time. He sort of recapped this well. Rory says he follows a strict routine during the PGA Tour season to help ensure proper rest and recovery. Here's some of the things that he is doing. No caffeine after 2 p.m. Last meal at least 2 hours before bed.
Mm-hmm.
Magnesium and theanine for sleep quality. Blue light blocking glasses in the evening. Sauna or Epsom salt bath when available. Cool room temperature for sleep. He follows the same 3-hour routine before every round, arrive at the course, warm up in the gym, eat breakfast, hit balls in the range, and then go to the putting green. Rory says he believes his focus on longevity will help him play another 10 plus years at a high level, and his psychological age on Whoop is now 1.5 years younger than his actual age. Plus, it turned out to be a pretty good investment. He invested in the Whoop as well, where he's, made like 8.5 times his money as far as the stock is concerned over 5 years. There has been a lot that is made in the golf community about Rory actually like starting to work out. I mean, you look at him, he is jacked.
Yeah.
He's in really, really good shape. And
he's always been like trim, but now he's a little bit more built.
It's hard to know.
Weirdly what happens with the really good golfers. Like, we saw that with Tiger. We've seen that with others. Like, eventually we're going to see a slightly more built Scotty Scheffler.
It's hard to know what it like actually does unless you talk to the players and you tell them, and they tell you, hey, here's what it's done for me, and it just makes me clearer headed and things like that. Like I'm in better shape now, but it is certainly still very possible for a less in shape person to win golf tournaments and win events like this. But it's not uncommon anymore to see like golfers who, who are deciding that, yeah, I'm going to put myself in the best position, not only on the course, but also off the course as well. And then, like you said, there's a correlation almost immediately when these guys decide that they want to get in shape, they end up winning.
Yeah.
It happens almost every time like that.
Well, and it's sort of a product of where have been winning, and then now there's like another element to it or whatever it is. I mean, when I did watch the first season of Full Swing, like you did see how much of these guys' lives are just focused on just fitness and pliability and all of these different, even like box jumps and explosion, which you wouldn't think about for golf. Like
I know
Rory, and I don't remember who the other one. Justin Thomas or one of those other guys where you're just like watching them work out at the gym, and it's like, yeah, that's not really what I would have expected, but some of it is total life health. Some of it is just, that's just what their trainer views as valuable for them to be able to explode through their swing.
The only person who it didn't work for to get super jacked was Beefy Bryson, and I think he would admit to you that he was probably going a little too hard.
I mean, it didn't really work for Tiger either, in that he totally wrecked his body.
Yeah,
but his also came
true.
along with the like complete idolization of military style training. Yeah. So he wrecked his knees.
Also went a little too hard.
Plus, he might have used some stuff that maybe wasn't the best either.
Also, yeah. So he went a little too hard.
A lot more with him
in a lot of different areas of his life.
Some of it is, I think, high level athletes have an addiction personality that, and that's not any sort of Tiger comment, but that's like, you're addicted to a certain level of this is how you always work out, or this is what it always like. You're addicted to the routine. You're addicted to the competition. You're addicted to the process. You're addicted to like each of these individual elements. So when you introduce new stuff and you really like it, it feeds that addiction. It's a new level of endorphin that you're gaining. And so, I think that's where some of that comes in too.
He also shared his recovery rate. He was able to recover, Rory was, to 89% going into Thursday, 79% going into Friday, 94% going into Saturday, 87% on Sunday. And then he also shared what it was like for him on Monday, 7%.
Yeah.
So
he
may have got after it
to his regular rules of no caffeine or no food 2 hours before he slept or anything else.
He may have gotten after it.
When you win your second green jacket, you could probably have a good time.
I think so too. I think he's allowed.
You
to
don't
do
win
that.
a second jacket; you just get the same jacket again, right? Like they're not making.
No, there's it. I believe because. The Masters
if he goes to dinner,
there
wouldn't be two different jackets for him to be able to.
But I believe you get one to have for a year.
Yeah,
but it's not the same jacket, because then would everyone have a different? Everyone shares the same jacket. No, I don't think so.
Right. Well, I thought that there was some sort of jacket that you have available for you at the club.
I believe there is one that hangs
like
there.
They size it up for you and everything.
Yeah, and then the big trophy stays there, and then you get like a replica trophy. There's also been a really deep dive. Speaking of the conversation that you didn't really dive into over the last 48 hours
on PJs,
there's been a really deep dive into like what winning the Masters gets you, like as far as membership to the club or access to the club and things like that. And I have seen very conflicting reports over the last 48 hours of like who is actually eligible to play at the course in the days and weeks leading up to the Masters. But Rory obviously was able to, and they weren't gonna tell him no. He could show up there as much as he wants.
Do you remember after Matsuyama won, the pictures of him at the airport where the jacket is just draped over?
Yeah, I do remember that picture now. Nice.
He's just walking through the airport
with a green jacket.
Yeah. In 2021, a weird time to be in airports.
Certainly. All right, let's take a break. We will come back. We have a a couple things from our listeners over the last 24 or 48 hours that I want to get to, correspondences from you all. So we'll get to those. And as always, we'd love to hear from you too. 402-951-1620. We'll be back after this around at the 6 o'clock hour on 1620 The Zone. So we asked yesterday, just a random question at the start of the show. I appear to have an open Saturday. What do I do? What do I do with my Saturday?
Oh yeah, I saw the tweet.
So
there.
our good friend Sam on Twitter tweets at us at Happen Schaefer on the Liquid Chuck.
We have a
Trucking
couple
Zone
friends
Twitter
named
feed.
Sam on
We
Twitter.
do. We have some good Sams on Twitter these days. And so he created a list of suggestions of things that I should do on Saturday. And so Schaefer, you let me know what you think about any of these,
All right.
any or all of these.
You want me to rank them?
No, there's a lot of
Too
them.
many of them.
There's a lot of them. Just give me like a thumbs up,
Yep,
thumbs
will
down,
do.
or
Perfect.
something
Love
like that. Things Happer could do on Saturday. Visit Ashfall fossil beds.
Doesn't sound like something you'll do. I'll put down.
Okay. $59 lobster roll.
In.
All right, yeah. That was at the Iowa State Fair, I think, last summer, which I was really interested in. And I almost made a day trip. But we don't have that available to us right now.
Okay, so it's not something you can actually.
Road trip to Denver to watch the Omaha Beef potentially play Paxton Lynch. I need to visit some friends out in
Look,
Denver.
I think you would go to Denver, but you really only have one day to do this.
Yeah,
so
I
I don't
can't.
think you're going to be able to go.
I don't think so either, but I have a lot of friends that I need to pay a visit
Mm-hmm.
in Denver at the moment. So that at least got my attention. Run a marathon with his friend Josh.
That's a down.
Okay. Fix up a car.
Also a down.
Go to Safari Park.
It doesn't seem like something you would do just yourself. So yeah.
Yeah, definitely would be a family thing. Frolic/loiter through Gene Leahy Mall.
It seems like something you would do. I'll go.
I could definitely take a walk.
Yeah.
Catch the production of Romeo and Juliet by the UNO Theater Department.
Doesn't seem like something you would do. That's down.
Go to Koji and Barnado with Josh and Nick Grimm and pretend you are in Vegas and refer to Village Point as Oma Vegas.
I would be
that would be
somewhat
good.
upset if I don't get invited to at least experience.
That would be great.
That is the
content.
leader right now.
That seems like very possible.
Post up at Lauritsen Gardens. I don't think I've ever actually been there, and I probably wouldn't go without my wife.
I don't know
Yeah, it's,
what
ni-
that
it's
is.
nice over there.
Lauritsen Gardens?
Yeah, I don't think I know this. Is this an Omaha thing?
Oh yeah, it's in Omaha.
Yeah,
thing.
it's right by the zoo,
right by
just
the
on the north side of
About
I-80.
right by the river, down by the river. Solo date to a moderately priced steakhouse.
Yeah, that's a thumbs
This
up.
is a great option.
That's a good idea.
Write a screenplay at a local coffee house.
Oh, that would be fun.
I would love
to see what you could come up with.
to see you interact with people at a local coffee house as you write a screenplay.
I could finally start to really hack out Con Air to the Moon, which was the original idea for the screenplay.
Okay,
But I think I would need Josh Hodson as well. Hit up O Street.
that's a thumbs.
I'm
down.
already going to Lincoln tonight, so I can't go to Lincoln twice in a week. That's illegal.
I have heard nothing good from the use of college age about O Street.
Seems very different.
It might be. It really could be on its way out.
Leinenkugels and Subway at the zoo with McMaster.
Wait, there's a Subway at the zoo?
I don't know.
I don't know.
I didn't know that there was a Subway at the zoo, but does like Matt walk around listening to Klosterman?
I would walk around the zoo with Matt with the Leinenkugels.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Conduct experiments.
You've talked about this in the past.
What kind of
I'm going to put
experiments
thumbs
we're
down.
talking?
Though, 'cause
All right.
You got to be out of your house. You can't. You're not just going to be in your garage working on experiments. I'm assuming.
No, this needs to
So.
be an out experiment. Street nap
Okay.
and go to Sioux Falls.
Sioux Falls is possible.
I don't
Sioux
think so.
City seems like it'd be more reasonable for you to go to the Hard Rock randomly up there, but I don't know why.
Or
you
just
would
be
do
like my family, just drive up to Dakota Dunes just to say you were in South Dakota and then just drive back.
It just seems like a giant
that.
waste
Doesn't
of
seem like
time.
it, yeah.
I think the
You're
Village
telling
Point
you're
Yeah, I
telling
like
me.
that one. I would check in with Josh to see what his availability is for such a thing.
Yeah, I think they're gonna like that idea. We also got I also got an email from listener John who commented on the apathy about Nebraska football over the weekend that I haven't got to either, but now I don't have enough time to talk about it at this very moment. But we could get to that during the show as well. We would continue to take your ideas of things that I should do
Yeah, absolutely.
with my day off potentially this weekend. At least that's how it looks for the time being. All right, plenty to come up on the show. We're going to talk about some baseball coming up tonight, basketball, Price Sanford returning. Why don't we do that next? Coming up on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. All right, Tuesday morning, 7 o'clock on Happer Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. Like I said before, we will have your opportunity to win tickets to Zach Bryan at Memorial Stadium in under 2 weeks, so stay tuned for that. Also, Bert Kreischer is back in the Metro this fall. That is, well, almost winter. I guess it is fall. December 6th.
It's late fall.
At the Mid-America Center. Like I said, the day after the Nebraska Creighton basketball game, which feels so far away at this point, but it's really just right around the corner. Unsportsmanlike conduct, we'll have a chance for you to win your way in. We'll have many chances, actually, to win your way in this week. Also, you could double your chances by entering in on our website, 1620thezone.com. We got a text from Pedro. We sent Pedro to the Supernovas game.
Oh, yeah.
Last
Yeah,
week.
we did.
But then they lost for him.
Yeah, they kind of be losing this year.
Yeah.
Is what it
Then
seems
very
like.
500.
I heard they have a tiny baby coach.
They have a tiny baby coach?
Yes. Have you guys heard about this?
No.
Their coach is like mid-20s.
25,
Yeah.
It's it was on when this television worked for that one day. They were showing the new coach, and I was like, oh yeah, that guy's young.
Yeah. They've had a lot of coaches.
They have had a lot of coaches for not that many seasons in program history.
But that won't stop them from having fun. Pedro writes a review on the Supernovas.
Oh, great.
So listen up. He says, hi, guys. I went to the Supernovas game on Sunday. It was a lot of fun. I've never been to an event that had so many kids, boys and girls. At times, they made more noise than a lot of Creighton games. The cheering and singing was great. I went with my wife, daughter, and her boyfriend. Everyone comments on how much fun they had at the game. Supernovas, congrats on the home court experience for fans.
Look at that.
Love
That's
to hear
great.
that.
Great review from Paige.
I have yet to be at an Omaha
I have not gone
Supernovas.
either.
I haven't either.
The only time I deal with the Supernovas is when I have to fight against them for traffic
I think
purposes
there's
coming out of the ballpark.
I think there's one more home game this season, if I'm not mistaken.
All right. Well, I'm sure there will probably be an opportunity to win tickets. I'm sure.
Oh, I'm sure.
All right. So stay tuned for that. The Omaha Supernovas is doing some good things as far as home court advantage is concerned. Maybe there will be a good home field advantage tonight for Nebraska in Lincoln. Maybe there will be a home court advantage for Creighton in volleyball at DJ Sokol Arena on Saturday when Nebraska comes to town. This is going to be fun. I'm excited for. Oh no, I'm sorry, not Saturday. Friday. This is Friday.
Those are expensive tickets.
Are they?
Yeah.
Well, it's a small building.
Yeah, no, and people want to go.
I'm glad. It's actually going to be a lot of fun. We'll see how many Nebraska fans make their way in. I truly wonder, because Creighton volleyball has a great fan base, and they always pack that building. I mean, it's perfectly big enough, but like obviously when they play each other at the Chi, it's going to be more Nebraska than it is Creighton. But we'll see what it looks like on Friday at DJ Sokol Arena. So we'll talk about that as we go on throughout the week. Nebraska basketball. Bryce Sanford is back, folks. He announced yesterday. And he just basically took himself out of the NBA draft process, which is, I don't know if it was expected, but I wanted to see exactly what was going to happen with that. But he had been dealing with the hernia thing and the surgery that followed that. And so he will come back, and he is the centerpiece to what Nebraska basketball will be doing in 26-27.
Yeah, definitely going to be the centerpiece. There's a part of me that wonders at the timing of this. Nebraska had Trevin Lenhart, Drew Fielder in over the weekend. I think there might be just an effort of like, hey, this is exactly what it's going to look like with Sam Orm and Braden Frager. And we want you two guys, and would effectively be their starting lineup, which would go 6'4", 6'7", 6'7", 6'8", and 6'11". So Nebraska would be quite big, quite long.
I do wonder if there's enough defense there.
Yeah, I think it'd be okay.
You think so?
Yeah. I think Lenhart is sort of a version of Sam Hoiberg in a lot of ways. Like, he fills up the stat sheet. Now he's going to have to make a giant jump from Utah Valley to the Big Ten.
Sure.
And the same for the Missouri Valley for Sam Orm as well. But I think they can replace it in aggregate. It's not going to look the exact same. The rebounding is where it always comes in for me, probably more than just a straight defense, because the philosophy is still going to be the same. Keep them out of the middle, chase them to the corners, force the skip passes.
Yeah,
you're just long.
They always have schemed a way to
think
be successful on defense.
In absence of having elite athleticism on defense, they're just going to throw length at people and hope that that's problematic.
Yeah, and I think that is proven to work. It certainly did last year when Nebraska had one of the best, 10 defenses in the country.
But they're still going to get those two other guys. That's the thing.
And they still have to get the two other guys. And they have some work to do, I think, as far as this transfer portal is concerned. So as far as Sanford is concerned, I mean, he said, and Hoiberg said in the statement that they put out yesterday, that there were some specific things that he wanted to work on and that he had unfinished business, which I think is kind of just what people say, like to get people fired up. But that was good. That was good to hear. And he's certainly going to be the face and the figurehead of Nebraska basketball in 26 and 27. I do wonder for him, before we get to what the legacy could potentially look like with another really good year, I do wonder for him as a basketball player, what those specific things are. Like what is a really an advanced version of Price Sanford look like after next year? What are the things that he wants to work on? I would assume that individual defense is one of those things, which is fascinating because you always have to sort of split that middle because they're such a scheme heavy defense and they're trying to accomplish one team goal as far as that's concerned. But Price Sanford has an NBA career in front of him, at least we think. And so he's got to get, and if he wants to play in the NBA, he's got to be able to defend himself. Yeah. And so he's kind of chasing people off the 3-point line this year with his length, which is awesome. And a skill that is tremendously important for what Nebraska is doing. But how much does it apply to his professional career? I don't know.
Right.
And so, I wonder how that mix sort of works. Orm helps soften that blow, him sort of being there. And then I'm sure, there's some ball handling stuff that he could probably get better at. At the same time, I mean, you see a lot of dudes who do what Price Sanford did at Nebraska last year offensively in the NBA too. They just curl off the screens and get shots up. And, he could be an effective guy at that.
Yeah, I think it's the level of, how much further his game can go is how much more value he could add in his future career.
Like, can he find a way to get to the rim?
So that's you went with defense. The first thing I thought of is, can Fred Hoiberg help him, or just the system help him be an even more versatile offensive player? We obviously know he can come off of screens. We know he has a quick release. We know he can shoot from just about anywhere on the court. It's how do you take that and then use that against other teams? He did it really well against Illinois, and
he's a really creative finisher. Yeah. Like when he got his opportunity,
and he's willing to go to the rim. He did it a couple times against Iowa. One of the critical misses Nebraska had in the second half is he had a layup that I think would have put him up 7. Maybe they were up 5, and he missed kind of a point blank right-handed layup. It went a little too hard off the glass, off the front of the rim.
That's right.
So he's willing to try to get to the rim. If he can become a more valuable scorer, either at the rim or even adding a little bit more in that mid-range, where we saw
get to the free throw line a few times.
We saw against Illinois early in the season when he wasn't the focal point coming into a game for a team defensively. He torched Illinois' defense and forced them to totally re-examine how they played, because he was just coming inside off of them trying to chase off the three. He's like, all right, I'll just come inside and I'll start hitting some of these jump shots, or I'll go to the rim, or I'll do this. And so I think if he can become even a more valuable scorer, it adds the element for Nebraska. You don't have to just have him as a hunting for the 3-pointer. And if you can make teams that want to try to specifically take that away, you can make them a little bit more dangerous, get them some more opportunities at the free throw line. He can add more to the bottom line in terms of scoring. You're right, though, defensively, for him overall in his game, that's going to be a big area, I would imagine, of emphasis.
Last year, he was more than double on his shot attempts, more than double 3-pointers than 2-pointers.
Yeah.
So I wonder what that, I mean,
you want him to get up as many threes as possible. Like, how ball dominant can he be?
Yeah.
For a guy that, I think.
Could you see him bringing it up more?
I wonder. I'd like.
Yeah.
A lot of this depends on what you build around
The rest
him.
of it looks like,
and so I don't know exactly what that looks like for him, but having the ability to get more than double the amount of 3-pointers off than 2-pointers for a guy who shot 310 threes this past year. I mean, that's a lot of catch and shoot. It was that, and that's what he was doing. It wasn't a whole lot of, dribble, get to a spot and ISO one-on-one stuff. And not that he has to do that. I think he could be an effective player at the next level doing pretty much exactly what he was doing at Nebraska with less volume, this past year.
But can he be an even more effective scorer at this level?
How does he round out his game? And then what does he have to be for Nebraska next year is really, really fascinating. And I don't think that question can really be answered until you put the right pieces around him.
Well, and then
you're going to have Frager, and then, know, what else happens?
In a world, if Sam Orm can be an efficient 3-point shooter in the way that he was at Belmont, and suddenly you have that guy who's hunting for threes as well.
Mm-hmm.
We think that Frager is going to take a step in his game with what he's able to do, and he has a little more explosion to get to the rim, and I think we're going to see more of that from him maybe going forward. But he can also shoot threes from the outside. Like Nebraska's offense was good last year, but also felt like there was a drop-off when it wasn't Price shooting, because there really was a drop-off when it wasn't Price shooting.
Because he made a lot of his shots.
So if you're getting these other guys that are reasonably high percentage 3-point shooters, and they carry that over, which is a big if, but they carry that over into the Big Ten or into just at Nebraska. I am fascinated if you have 4 or 5 guys that are real threats from shooting from 3. How does that open things up for Stanford? Because you can't just key on that entirely.
Right.
And so
you do have to have some creators, though.
Yeah.
And so that's
where,
Frager.
You hope that Frager can be a little bit more careful with the basketball, but also creative with it. Stanford, I think, is pretty good passer in addition to everything else that he kind of has going on. But you don't know if the court vision is the best at times.
It's just hard to tell because we don't know.
Well, when the ball
just didn't have the ball in his hand.
Up.
Yeah.
But what is that? There's like a stat where it's like how many percentage of possessions end in someone else's in his hand, and it has to be really, really high, because if you're working that hard to get him the ball, chances are he's taking the shot.
So I don't know if that's the exact number you're referencing, but the percent possessions on KenPom last year. They also have percentage of shots, so I guess that'd be a little bit closer. He had the highest on the team. It was basically him and Mast had the same share,
which makes sense. Like that's what you were building towards,
right? And so, what does that look like next? It was 26.4% of shots.
I think
is it 30 or more?
In a weird way, you might be a better team if that goes down because it spreads out across and you're more effective.
Frager had 24%, which was a higher number than I sort of expected it. See, I don't think that this is percentage of shots for the team. I just think this is like
percentage of possessions of which they played and which they shot.
I believe that is the case.
That makes more sense because the math wouldn't add up.
Okay, now I had to confirm it, and the way I confirmed it was Jared Garcia's number.
Hit me.
What do you think, Jared Garcia? So if you said it the way you just said it, what the stat was, right? Percentages in which they are shooting
played in which they finished with a shot. Jared Garcia is at 36%.
Now it's 23.4.
Whoa, that's lower than I thought.
But think about that. Jared Garcia
was getting about 4 minutes a game.
He played in 16% of Nebraska's minutes this year.
Higher than I might have guessed.
And he was getting them shots up.
Doing some
on a quarter of the possessions.
How many minutes played across 34 games, 35 games? 35 games.
He was getting them shots up.
Yeah.
There's
hunting for shots, and then there's that.
So we got we asked this question earlier, and we'd like to hear your guys' thoughts now real quick. I don't know how many times, if any, Nebraska basketball has had a first-team all-conference player that has come back for next year in basketball. So immediately, people, when we asked this question earlier, went to a different sport. They went to football.
Yeah.
And one name that came up a couple of different times in the immediate straw poll was most anticipated return of a player since Sue in 2009. And I mean, holy smokes. If we're talking about that category of guy, that's pretty high up there.
I think people are forgetting about one other return in there that maybe it seemed like it was more obvious that he was going to come back, but I won a lunch bet off of it from a very confident Damon Benning. Amir Abdullah was a real threat to leave after his junior season.
He sure was.
And he came back for a monster senior year.
In 14.
So if you're doing
he carried them completely in 14. Yeah.
He was so good.
Yeah.
I was unpacking finally like a box that had been sitting in my office, and I have
the batteries.
I have my Amir batteries. I was like, am I going to tweet this out for the 4th time in the last 7 years? No, I am not. So he was really good. Sue was a good one. Sue's fascinating because I don't know what he would have been drafted as coming out of his junior year, because his senior year,
it made a lot of sense for him to
was
come
the
back.
singular best defensive season I've ever seen, which isn't, I'm older, but I haven't seen everything.
Would he have been a first rounder after
I
his
don't think he
junior
would have
year?
been.
Yeah.
I think he would have been a day 2 guy.
And obviously his stock raised so much in his
right.
senior year.
Well, was there day 2 at that point? I forget how the draft was in 2009.
I think they did it first 2 and then.
I think he might have been in the first draft where they separated it out. So it was a Thursday night.
Yeah.
I remember I was driving home
Was there
listening
the
to
2010
pre-draft
draft
coverage. 2010 draft. Yeah.
Let's see if there's anything on the Wikipedia page. 2010 draft took place over 3 days at Radio City Music Hall at the first round on April 22nd. Yeah. So it's the same format that it was it is right now.
But I think they had switched going into that year.
Yes, that is correct. 2009, 2 rounds on the first day.
Yeah, look at that memory.
Good job. Schaefer.
So he might have went in round 2 then on day 1, but I don't know that he was a bona fide first round pick. I mean, I remember sitting in, I don't know how we got into Sioux instead of Stanford, but I'm just going with it now.
Yeah.
Remember sitting at the Virginia Tech game in the press box next to the scout from the then Washington Redskins, I guess Commanders, whatever. And Max Olson and I are talking to him about like who he's there to watch. Like, and he's like asking us questions because it was Nebraska's 3rd game. He's like, yeah, I didn't see Florida Atlantic, or he's like, I watched it on film, but he's like, what do you think of Sue live? And we're like, yeah, I mean, he looks incredible right now. He's just wrecking people. He's like, yeah, I just think the motor kind of goes like this. Like, I don't know if that's true.
Well, he answered all those questions.
The guy that he was most excited about from a Nebraska scouting perspective was Alex Henry at that point in time.
Well,
because he's like, it'd be a real.
That ended up aging well.
Like, it could be a potential weapon if you only had to use one spot on your roster for a kicker and a punter, and you could get both at a really high level. And Henry at one point in time was doing both at a really high level. And that guy got to watch Alex Henry punt the ball on a 4th and goal when Nebraska went back 35 yards.
He's very versatile.
He got to experience something amazing in that game. So
he also got to watch. Oh, that was the home Virginia Tech game, right?
That was the away one.
Oh,
we went out to Blacksburg.
Hopefully he wasn't looking at Matt O'Hanlon.
Yeah, even though I still think it was Anthony West's fault.
I know, but I'm still going to yell at Matt O'Hanlon.
That's fair. Danny Cole with the catch, Tyrod Taylor with the pass.
Yeah, it was a great ball. It was a great ball.
An incredible moment for my first ever away college football game. I'll tell you that much. But
Sanford.
So I just don't know that Sue was what he was until the end of that year from the NFL scouting perspective. And there was even a real conversation about Sue or Gerald McCoy, which is laughable to me now, thinking about it, as to which one was the better.
I do remember that conversation.
And so, like I don't know. Bringing it back though from a basketball perspective, like I think was Vincent Hamilton, maybe a junior that came back his senior year because Lou left. I don't know about any
Vincent
of those
Hamilton
other
was
90s
drafted.
guys. Yeah, he was drafted as a senior. But he maybe could have left as a junior. I can't think of anyone that has been, and it's not even so much that Sanford, like that he would get drafted highly or anything. It's just that they haven't had a guy have that sort of season and then have the ability to return. Like Bryce Williams was out of eligibility.
I'll do a dive here and just look at all of the the all conference first teamers in the media guide or in the record
In the
book
annals of Nebraska basketball
from this
history.
year, and you could try and put together like what happened to them after that.
Okay.
But it's the chemistry changes because there's no Mast and there's
Mhm.
no Lawrence and there's no Hoiberg and there's no Berkay. Like that, I mean, that's a significant
It's a lot.
changeover. And like we said, a lot of what Price is going to be expected to do is sort of dependent on what fills in around him. But I mean, yeah, this is a really good player who has decided to double down and come back for his senior year. And has like an outside chance to break some career records.
Yeah, he needs
And where he's only
143s.
Yeah,
He was here for one season.
he made 129 this
Yeah.
year, which is a school record. He's got a chance to track down the all-time three-point record and being here just 2 years.
Yeah.
Which is kind of absurd. He's got to, and obviously the thing that he has going for him from a legacy perspective is he has won 2 NCAA tournament games, which is more than literally anyone else has ever won, with the exception of his teammates from last year.
Right.
When you talk about, guys who are going to be on last year's team and this year's team, him and Frager, if they win 1 or 2 more NCAA tournament games, we're talking about all-time dudes. And then Frager could go on after that potentially.
Yeah. And then you're eventually the statue that they want to build of Hoiberg is just going to be him and Frager walking off the court arm in arm together.
Oh,
That'll be what it is when
man.
Frager's the all-time.
They should build a statue of. We're doing a lot of building statues or talking about
People
building
like
statues.
to talk about building statues.
They do. There's a lot of that conversation recently. They should
Our
somehow.
friend Jake Sorensen wanted a Bill Moose statue in 2019.
I remember that. That was.
I would
a great
be
time.
curious how that would go over in 2020.
I think it's Cale Jacobson throwing, like putting his hands on top of his head as in the background the ball rims in and out on Tyler Tanner's shot. Somehow, if you could depict that in a statue,
I've gone back and rewatched that just to look where everybody's standing and how they react to it.
I think
absurd.
I think
all
the
of it.
Bill Moose statue would be sitting in front of the governor's mansion, and the plaque would say, "Jim Palan says no."
Timberland. Dan, what did you find on the rewatch to the Tyler Tanner shot?
Nothing that I hadn't seen before. It's just that like the collective processing took a full beat for so many people as to what had happened there
It's absurd.
on the court. And then for me, like I filmed it with my phone instead of just like watching it live, which do what you want with that. But it's still amazing because then I'm
2025
panning
Schaefer.
and I'm getting the crowd, and it's like such an incredible moment.
It really
was.
It really is.
The noise from that thing is just truly remarkable.
All right, so I'll try and track down some of these first teamers, and then we'll get them when we come back after the break. Also, we have our tier rankings of pasta shapes coming up. Yes, stuffed pastas do count.
Ooh.
If we're missing anything, please let us know. 402-951-1620. We'll be back with that and more coming up after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, so just to clean up the last topic, here's the list of first team all conference honorees, Nebraska basketball players over the years. You had, Sanford obviously going into next year. Bryce Williams, who was, exhausted his eligibility after last year. James Palmer, who exhausted his eligibility after his first team all conference year in 18. Taran Petaway, who did return for 14-15 after being first team all conference in 14. Didn't work out.
No.
Nebraska had a bad season that year. They lost to Gardner Webb or whoever it was.
Incarnate
Word.
Word.
That's right. They also lost to Gardner Webb at some point. They also
had the year after
Gardner Webb, Samford, and Incarnate Word is like the holy trinity of awful Nebraska basketball losses.
Well, then there's like UC Riverside.
Riverside was the first game of the Hoiberg era.
Hoiberg. They lost to Western Illinois a couple years later when you had
Kobe Webster,
Alonzo Verge, and Bryce McGowan's making their debuts.
Yikes.
Yeah.
There's some bad ones.
I do.
The Incarnate Word one was the worst one because that team was supposed to be good. Alex Marich, 2008, who was done after that. Vincent Hamilton, 99.
Yep.
Who was done after that, right?
Mm-hmm.
Lou went pro after his first team all conference season in 98. Pikowski went pro after his first team all conference selection in 94, but was also first team all conference in 93.
So Pikowski would be the most similar.
So Pikowski got back to back.
So Sanford, Petaway, Pikowski are your first team returners.
Correct.
30 years.
Correct. And Pikowski is the only one who did it again.
Yep.
Dave Hoppin did it 3 times in a row.
Dave Hoppin.
84, 85, 86.
Pretty
so
good.
he returned
Pretty good.
multiple times.
Yeah.
How many times would Dave Hoppin had been in the transfer portal after first team all
I don't know.
conference?
He's still committed to Nebraska.
That's true.
Omaha.
That is true. Andre Smith was back-to-back in 80, 81. Jerry Fort did it 3 times in a row, 74, 75, 76. Stu Lance, 67, 68. And then there's some real fun ones. How about Bus Whitehead? 49 and 50.
Okay.
Back-to-back. And those are there's some really funny names in here, but those are the ones that you've likely heard of. Now, Price Sanford putting his name on the list. Sean says the UMBC loss under Doc was bad. They lost to UMBC.
I couldn't remember if it was UMBC or Maryland East Shore. They lost to one of those two teams.
Oh, I remember some really bad Devaney ones in the Doc era.
Doc had.
I don't think it was UMBC. I
think it was Maryland East Shore.
Maryland Eastern Shore.
Yeah.
UMass.
I think it was UMBC if I remembered right.
Oh, there is a dispute.
I think it was UMBC.
What year would that have been? Like 2008, somewhere around there?
I think 2009 or 10-ish.
Yeah, that's kind of Joey's in the right range.
Nebraska. Yeah, I don't know. Doc Sadler coaching record. All right, now I could find it. You want to say 2009, 2010? Should we try to find 2009, 2010 Nebraska basketball? Let's see.
No, so Maryland Eastern Shore has never beaten Nebraska. They've lost 4 times.
Okay.
Okay. It must be UMBC then.
Let's see. Yeah, no, it wasn't the 2009-10 because that was that team ended up okay to start. And
there was mention of Longwood. I just had a call mention.
Lose to
Longwood.
2000 UMBC won 66-64 against Nebraska December 23rd, 2008.
December of 2008?
Yeah.
Wow.
Ade Daganduro was Nebraska's leading scorer with
there it
points.
is. Maryland, Baltimore County. There you're right. Wow.
Look at
December
Joey.
23rd, 2008. Let's check the box score. How about that?
I was a Nebraska basketball fan before I was shown the Creighton way.
66-64.
Some people regress in life.
Well, hey, we had an interesting email overnight that I wanted to get to as well. So Nebraska that night against UMBC was led by Adi Dagaduro, 19 points. They got 13 from Steve Harley, and they got 12 from Sek Henry.
They got 14 from Paul Villander off the bench.
14 from Paul Villander off the bench.
Do you want me to go through some of these names? Do you remember all of these guys?
I do. Most of
Can
them.
Chris Ballum, Ryan Anderson, who only 2 for him in 35 minutes.
Poor Tony McRae
What
didn't.
was going on there for Ryan Anderson?
Tony McRae was getting shots up, but he wasn't getting them to go.
That sounds like Tony McRae. The only one Nick Crank made an appearance.
Nick Crank.
Brandon Richardson. I believe this is Alonzo Edwards, former power forward Alonzo Edwards.
You got it.
Is this Cole Solomon?
Cole Solomon. That name I do not know.
Yeah, he's I'm guessing a walk-on from Omaha.
With all due respect to Cole Solomon, if you're listening right now, I apologize. Oh yeah, Sean says he follows up and says Cookie Miller missed the game. It was UMBC. He says Sean says I was there, and Cookie Miller was out for the game, and that doomed Nebraska against the Golden Retrievers.
Their first big win before Virginia.
They had a banner up in the arena until they beat Virginia.
We beat Doc.
We beat Doc Sadler at the Bob Devaney Sports Center, ladies and gentlemen. All right, tier rankings, pastas. All right, so we should put out our disclaimer. We don't have very much time to do this, by the way. We should because we were talking about Nebraska basketball, which is good. If we pronounce something wrong, I'm sorry. These are going to be the overly Americanized, like, I don't know. I can't go that deep into the bag of pastas. We're talking about the shapes.
Sure.
Here, we're talking about the shapes in which the pastas come in, not the pasta dishes. So my elite tier, good with everything, pasta shape rankings contains 3 pastas.
Okay.
Farfalle, number 1.
Okay.
The bow tie pasta. Linguine.
Okay.
And macaroni.
Okay.
All on the top.
I have all 3 of those. I don't have any of them in my top tier, though. My top tier, penne, rotini, lasagna.
Oh, nice.
I'm surprised you did not put lasagna at the top. Connor.
Not in my top tier, but I have not a specific tier for it, but it'll make sense. So my second tier is great with specific sauces.
Okay.
Great with specific dishes, like really, really good, but it's only in a specific sort of world. So I have a lot of them in this one. Orzo, fettuccine, spaghetti, gnocchi, lasagna, ravioli.
Okay.
Although I think ravioli, thinking about it now, is a little bit more versatile than I'm giving it credit for. But lasagna, not really. I mean, it's just lasagna.
Yeah, well.
Have you ever tried to eat lasagna noodle without, in non-lasagna settings?
I think it'd be delicious.
I probably would be, but I've never tried.
The texture of a lasagna noodle is tremendous. Now, some of that comes with a crunch that you get in the bake of the lasagna.
That's true.
But it's still a delicious noodle all the way around. A high-quality bowl, my second tier. Macaroni. I don't know what the Italian word is for shells, but the shell-type pasta. Gnocchi, and then
like
ravioli.
The stuff that you could stuff them.
You could stuff them. Sometimes they're not stuffed. I don't know what the actual.
This is where you need to get out the pasta Wikipedia page.
Conchigie.
Conchigie. Yeah, conchigie.
Oh, I mean that's not what they call it. There's a more common word for that.
I'm just using
the Americanized version is shell or seashells or whatever.
Okay.
So that's my second group. All of those are great. I mean, all of this stuff is great.
I love it. I love pasta. If I learned anything from this, is that I love pasta. All right. This tier for me is called has a brother that I don't care to know the difference between.
That is so many of these, by the way.
It is.
And I kind of just worked around it.
Now I can see it in my mind, but I can't explain it. Rigatoni and penne.
Yep.
What is, I mean,
thicker
and
shorter.
And then fusilli and cavatappi.
Yes.
All right. So
these are the same things.
Cavatappi
and rotini, they're all the same.
Is the thicker spiral but less loops.
Yep.
Right. And fusilli is the shorter, more tightened up.
And then rotini is like a sort of like distant cousin of those as well.
Yes. All right. That's a tier all by itself.
They're all spiral pastas.
They're all hanging out. I mean,
label them. They're
frankly,
in the neighborhood together.
All these are in the neighborhood together, but those are sometimes difficult to tell the difference between.
Third one, perfectly fine. Cavatappi. Rutel, which is like the wagon wheel-esque one.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah,
I
yeah.
included that because when I was a kid, the macaroni I liked more at the time was the character shape.
Sure.
I like the texture of it. I'm big on texture for all of it. And then spaghetti to round that one out.
I didn't even include spaghetti for some reason,
Fair.
but
That's
it's
fair.
But it's great. And then my final tier is we'll try to order at good Italian restaurant because it sounds cool.
Okay.
All right. Stoza Preti,
I don't know what that is.
Lumache,
Nope.
and Cannelloni.
They
which
all sound
I
cool.
believe you could stuff. Exactly.
I'm
I'm
going to
sorry.
look these up.
I don't even know what any of them are. I can't come up with it off the top of my head, but if it says it like it's X familiar pasta dish that I'm familiar with, plus with the Stoza Preti noodle or whatever it might be, like, sure, I'm going to take a chance on it.
Yeah, this I just labeled too thin to win. I don't love the thinner, longer noodles, so it's linguine, fettuccine, and angel hair for me to finish
I
it.
do like an angel hair.
They're all fine. Like I eat them, but it's definitely lower on the list of pastas I'd be excited about.
Okay. I gotta explain to you the
Yeah, your last three.
what did I say? Stroza.
They all sound delightful for what it's worth.
The Stoza Preti is like a half shell. Look at that guy right there.
Yeah. Okay. I'm in.
I've been on all of them.
You put it with sauce and meat, and I will eat it.
Exactly. Johnny Pig writes in, not one vote for Cos. Okay, now I gotta find Cos. I don't know. I'm not sure what that one is. Johnny Pig knows about food though, so I was trusting his judgment.
He's moving off of barbecue. Does he ever combine barbecue with pasta?
Yeah,
is that like a fusion that you can do?
Great question. Please answer that, Johnny Pig. Also, keep in mind here that we are going to get some, we're going to get some tweets later in the day on this because people will listen back on the podcast and they'll be like, "Here's some pasta," and
You'll see the social media posts out there.
I will be excited.
Yeah,
I will be excited
I'm
to get all your
pro-pasta.
tweets
You
about pasta.
teach me about pasta. If anyone does a pasta making class, Happer and Schaefer would love to join and learn.
One of the things that I very much want to do in my life is go to Italy.
Yes. Italy's high on the country visit list.
My
right
parents recently did it, and I was incredibly jealous.
That seems like next week's tier. Countries you most want to visit. We cap ourselves at a certain number.
Countries or places.
Countries or places.
Just anywhere?
Mine's all going to be international, I think, at this point. There's only like a few U.S. cities I haven't been to that I actually desire to go.
I can think of a few for me, but
Yeah,
I'm less traveled than you.
Let's do countries or places.
Countries or places that you would like to go to.
All right, that's next week's Joey. You got to file that away, even though you won't be here.
I'll write it on my sheet.
Oh man, I'm gonna be gone for that. That's
this is a perfect Joey topic because he can tell us what interstates.
Oh, that's true. We got to.
I like visiting places.
We got to kick this one out.
I famously been to 36 states.
All right, we'll save it.
All right, we'll come up with something else.
Come up with something different.
Favorite California pizza kitchen toppings for next week?
Who will be in for you next? Was it Peterman?
No, it will be Jake. I'm actually going to be gone for the next 2 Tuesdays.
Yeah, that's what I meant. We have to kick it out into basically May.
All right, so we got to learn. We got to learn a little bit about young Jake.
Yeah.
In order to come up with a topic that
do you know anything that Jake likes besides the Thunder?
No, that's Peter. Peter likes
both of them like the Thunder.
Oh, sorry.
I thought he had said that.
Yeah, Jake will do one Tuesday and then Peter will do the other. Yeah, that.
What is the thing that Jake likes?
I got to think about it. Let me think about it over the break.
We'll do. But you have stories to think about. By the way, I already like one of these headlines. Schaefer can't see them today.
What they are? This is going to be completely blind.
So we will come back and we will have those. Joey's got the news for you on the other side on 1620 The Zone. Whoa. Jim writes in on YouTube. He says, if only a listener was a chef with an Italian cheese company. Hang on.
Jim.
I assume you're referring to yourself. What's going on here? I've never heard about this before.
Yeah, we would like to know more.
I appreciate all kinds of foods,
Yes.
especially Italian foods and especially cheese. I love cheese.
Especially those kinds of foods.
I love cheese. So I'd like some more information. Johnny Pig also says, don't sleep on the Asian noodles. Yes. We
slept on the Asian.
We did not. We did sleep on the Asian. We couldn't.
That is a mistake. Big mistake.
That would have been a nice thing to throw in there.
Yep.
I love Japanese noodles. I love yakisoba noodles.
One of the places that, I don't know, his brunch or his pre-brunch that I got sent to in Portland was like this Asian noodle house that was just a local, they had come over and set up shop there and it become really popular. It was very good.
Tremendous. Did I tell you about the place that I went to in Vegas called Latai?
No.
All right, so I walked down the street on this Fremont Street, and it was called Latai, and I was like, this looks good.
I'm in.
There's a window on the outside, and I was like, what do I get? To the guy, I was like, what do I get? And then he goes, do you see my hat? And I go, yes, I do now, since you're drawing attention to it. And his hat said brisket fried rice on it.
Whoa.
And that's what I got. I got brisket fried rice.
That sounds delightful.
I was going to get some different thing, but he was like, get the brisket fried rice. I got brisket fried rice.
That sounds
His
good.
hat told you what to do.
His hat told me what to do. It was great. All right, Joe, you got headlines. What do we got?
Yes, we do. The first headline is man in cow costume accused of attempted stabbing.
Early lead.
Yeah, I yes.
Uh-huh.
I mean,
Do we even want to know what the second one is?
yeah, because you said they were both good.
All right.
All right, the second one's out in New Hampshire. New Hampshire mustard company owner sentenced for river pollution scheme.
Okay, I'm kind of interested.
I know. You have to pick.
But I think you want the cow, but I'm like weirdly interested in the mustard thing.
The word scheme, if you're throwing the word scheme in
Yeah.
there, I mean, there's something else. But
It does seem like there's more to it. I think the listeners would rather know about the cow.
all right, man in cow costume. Oh no, I can't read this story.
Oh, they kicked you out?
Yeah, I got paywalled.
Let me see if I can
What?
work around it.
I got access to it. And
All right,
just
wait.
try scrolling down.
I did.
Can
Man in cow costume accused of attempt. I must have tried to use this already read a story from the Times Union or something like that.
do you need me to read
off
it?
my phone?
You can read it.
You want
off
me
your
to read
phone.
it?
Yeah.
47-year-old Waterford man was dressed in a cow costume when he tried to stab a family member during a Saturday encounter in the Helderberg town, according to Albany County Sheriff's Office.
Okay.
Shortly after, at a location of Jubilee Road, Bovid-clad Anthony Papaloo allegedly hit the family member in the leg with his car door and fled to Schenectady County, where he was arrested. Deputies said. Asked why Papaloo dressed like livestock, Sheriff Craig Apple said authorities found that such behavior appears to be expected from him, but the sheriff didn't ruminate on whether Papaloo dressed as a ruminant to be funny. The Albany County Sheriff's Office responded to a report of the incident at 7:30 p.m. The injured family member refused medical treatment.
Huh.
Authorities sent out a notice to other agencies to be on the lookout for Papaloo. Rotterdam police pulled him over, detained him.
Sounds like we were going toward a drug thing, but we didn't get there.
No, this just seems like it's he was subsequently transferred to Albany County. Papaloo has since been charged with a felony count of second-degree attempted assault. He also faces misdemeanor charges for second-degree reckless endangerment, second-degree menacing, and fourth-degree criminal possession of a weapon.
I was able to skim the river pollution story. It
Mhm.
doesn't seem like it was a purposeful thing, but definitely a situation where there was some neglect to dispose of waste properly from the mustard company. The Old Dutch Mustard Company in Greenville, New Hampshire, the owner was sentenced to 18 months in prison, and he must pay $1.5 million fine for violating the Clean Water Act. He apparently had a long history of non-compliance with regulations. Beginning
Anti-regulations in New Hampshire.
in the 80s. There you go. Those are both of the stories from.
Look at that.
I wasn't able
We
to
did
read the
too.
story from the Times Union. By the way, Schenectady.
Schenectady.
Schenectady. And I guess I don't know the proper pronunciation of. I don't know about Albany versus Albany.
Okay, yeah. I'm guessing there's probably two different pronunciations based on where in the country. So
Probably. This
yeah.
is in New York, though, right?
Yeah, it's definitely in New York.
Schenectady.
Yeah.
It's a very confusing looking word.
It basically just forced me to guess. I'm not even sure Papaloo is how you'd pronounce the last name either, but that's how it sure looks like. So
It's good effort.
that's what we're going.
Yeah,
with.
we appreciate the effort.
Thank you.
All right, those are the stories from the headlines from our dear friend Joey, which kind of both ended up being duds after they
Yeah,
were
a
both
little
very
bit of a
exciting
bummer.
headlines.
I expected more out of the mustard story, and then the cow one, he attempted to stab and then hit somebody with a car door and then moved on. That was it. There was nothing more other than this is what he sort of does.
I wish we got a deeper dive on why he was wearing a cow.
Also, just what he seems to do.
Yeah, he just stabs people.
Yeah.
Be aware, there's a guy, he just stabs people.
There's a violent cow
Utterly
on the news.
baffling.
He might. Nice. He might be wearing a cow costume, so just be
We
aware.
milked these for all they were worth.
All right. 8 o'clock hour is coming up next. We'll talk about baseball going on tonight and plenty more. Mitch Sherman will join us at 8:30. Back after this on 1620 The Zone. All right, we welcome you back. Here on Happer and Schaefer, 1620 The Zone, 1620thezone.com. The Zone Radio Network. Connor Happer, Mike Schaefer with you, 8 o'clock here on a Tuesday. And yet another Nebraska Creighton baseball Tuesday.
Ooh.
These days, they always feel kind of the same in weird ways. You're always trying to remember or count how many pitchers that are potentially going
Look
to
at the Johnny
throw.
All-Staff game for Nebraska.
So that was my first thought when I was actually thinking about the game, which you can hear, by the way, on 1620 The Zone tonight. You could watch it on the BTN as well. It'll be a full house full of broadcasters this evening. And so, and on the Huskers Radio Network as well, but we prefer that you listen to me and John on 1620 The Zone. That's the first thing I thought about pitching wise. So Creighton is coming off of a weekend where they didn't really have to go deep into their stable like at all. They got 13 innings out of their Friday and Saturday starters, which is, I think, wildly above expectation for considering who they, Jack Pino's, their Friday night starter, and he's usually good for about 6, which is what they gave him. And then the surprise was Shea Went, who gave Creighton 7 on Saturday against Seton Hall, who, he had kind of been a midweek guy. He'd kind of been a back end of the bullpen guy. Like the roles had sort of been everywhere, but he was dominant on Saturday. And then on Sunday, Creighton got Wilson Moggers, their freshman of the year in the Big East last year, back. He was really only supposed to go 1. It was his first start since Valentine's Day.
Mm-hmm.
And he gave him 3. And then you paired your regular Sunday starter, Jacob Rule, along with him. And so they got, I think, 6 or 7 out of that as well. So they're in really good shape as far as their pitching.
Yep.
Certainly much better than it was last time. They're coming into this game, given, I believe, the last time Nebraska and Creighton played, Creighton was coming off of the series against Miami, which was a disaster. Nebraska was coming off of a sweep against Indiana last time Nebraska and Creighton played.
And had set it up for Blackowitz to start.
It set it up perfectly for Blackowitz. Blackowitz pitches on Sunday this time around against Oregon. And, Nebraska's bullpen just gets a little bit more tax this weekend as they lost 2 out of 3 in that series. I don't know. The pitching setup is very different this time around than it was last time.
Yeah. And for Nebraska, Blackowitz, I think, was really good in the first, 5.5, 5 1/3 innings of that game. And then Creighton chipped away a little bit. They go to the bullpen. Creighton immediately scores their runs. I mean, so the middle of Nebraska's bullpen, which has been kind of the bugaboo of their season. So they're going to have to figure out how they're going to piece together 9 innings here. I don't know how many Bender is going to give you right off the bat for Nebraska.
I feel like we're going to be in the runs territory tonight.
I think it's probably going to be like, let's say 13.5 would be the line.
Oh yeah. What would you set it total? I don't.
I was thinking about it. I wanted to say 15.5, 15 high, but I kind of think, would not surprise me if this is like a 9-7.
I mean, we already got 6.5,
right?
And that felt pretty normal.
And it might have been, in Nebraska's park, that's probably more in those conditions of which it was.
Certainly.
There's some large flyouts in that game.
Yes.
So,
I don't know, like 9-8 or
yeah.
Or
so I
10
initially
to
I was like,
8.
okay, if I set it at 15.5, I'm still going over. It's like, that's kind of high.
It is high. But
I went to 13.5 and it's like, that seems low.
Yeah.
So I don't know. They're in that range where anywhere from like 13 to 18 runs, none of it would surprise me.
Creighton has dominated in Lincoln.
Yeah.
In particular, they've dominated the series in general over the last.
They've done it in a
years.
variety of ways. They've done it coming from behind. They've done it from just blowing them out. They've done it
holding on.
Were blowing them out and then gave it up and then got it back and then held on with the bases loaded, no outs in the 9th inning.
That was last
year.
That was the second game last year, I think, because there was 2 in Lincoln last year.
Yeah, I covered that one. You had me come on the air briefly.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
On the radio?
Yeah.
I was doing my show from there.
No. You and John were calling the game.
There was one where I did my show from there because the game got moved up from weather.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been.
It was like they moved it up to 3.
Yeah, it wouldn't have been last year. Last year,
no, that was last year.
Oh, well, then they played two in
They played two in
last year?
Lincoln last
Okay,
year,
so then
yeah.
it would have been. This was shortly after John's incident with the mower.
Yes.
Because he hadn't
Infamous
returned to
event.
doing his shows yet,
Yeah.
but was obviously in Lincoln, and so yeah, that's how I remember it.
I remember
That's how
John.
I choose to phrase it.
I do remember John making his return. He had he had like a beard. It was the first time I had seen him
Yeah.
had a beard, and I was like, "What is going on?" But he was very happy to be at the ballpark. He was happy to get out.
John
of the
can
house.
pull off the beard if he wants to do the beard.
He had his foam. He had his foam thing of death. He
Yep.
hated the foam thing really
Well,
bad.
I think he hated the entire experience.
He definitely did hate that. There's no doubt about that. He did. Yeah, Mike
It
said.
remains because
Yeah, he
everything
had his
worked out
cue.
just fine. Remains fairly comical for everyone else involved.
I agree.
So
We must never forget about the time that John fell
that's
over.
when Joey and I were talking in the break. Like that's when we met.
Yeah, that's.
Joey had done shows previously, but he was back here and we were off site.
I was filling in for
And then
Nick that time.
I had to fill in because I get this text at like 6:00 in the evening on a Sunday. I think it was a Sunday. And it was like, hey, any chance that you can just show up and do a show tomorrow? Because John got hurt.
I got to look back at my messages and see what day it was.
Yeah, we had like one of the crossovers that day. John joined in late just to share his story of what went down, and pretty graphic. Just
Very graphic.
Just what he was telling us and what he was
and it's
sharing.
just from a fall.
So this was it. By the way, I've looked it up. I had to check my messages to see when I got a message from John's wife that was frantically, John broke his wrist.
Because was there a Creighton game that day?
There was a Creighton game
Yeah,
that day.
Yeah.
And it was April 26th, by the way,
Okay.
of last year. So yes, we must never forget.
Oh my goodness,
we have
and
to do an anniversary.
That's on Nick's wedding day as well.
Wow.
Oh my God.
April 26th. That's Sunday.
What if we just pass out foam fingers to everyone?
Well, John and I will be doing a
And it just says
baseball
John
game.
Bishop 1 year.
That is
Oh boy.
that is exciting.
Let's see.
We have exciting
What
potential.
does it cost for custom foam fingers?
Foam cubes, I suppose. We could do
I
a
think
little
you
bit
could
of
just
that.
show up to the doctors and ask for some.
Yeah. Do you guys got any of those cubes laying around? They're like, yeah, only one time a year a guy breaks his wrist on the lawnmower. Anyway, baseball tonight. I don't know. Like Sith Destroyer says another Creighton L tonight. I'm not sure. Like I think the first thing to point out in this series is that they're always weird games, and so nothing will prevent that from happening this evening. There will be things that happen in it that you'll be like, what in the world is going on? Because there will be a variety of different pitchers and players, and they have familiarity with each other and all those different things. Creighton feels pretty good about itself right now. They played their best series of the year coming off of the weekend against a horrible team. There's no doubt about that. So I don't know how much that means coming into this one, but at least they feel good about themselves compared to the last time. Nebraska, I'm sure they still feel fine about themselves. They understand how big of a week this is. What does all that mean in the lead up to tonight? Probably nothing.
Yeah.
Probably nothing.
I feel like context almost doesn't matter in this
I
series.
don't really
at
think so
all.
either.
Now what does matter is generally who's available to throw for you and everything else. Like Nebraska's been hitting well and coming off of playing Oregon where they hit well out there. Case Anderson was hot. Does anything like that kind of carry over? Is he seeing the ball well? That's sort of it from the Nebraska perspective, but it's still going to come down to, can you execute your pitches? Can you keep the traffic off the bases? In Nebraska's case, like they walk people, they tend to end up they're not the best at stranding runners.
Yeah, and I mean, I guess this is contextual, right? So keep that in mind. And it's a baseball game tonight. A lot of Creighton's hitters in their order are hitting the best they have all year right now. I mean, they're coming off of a weekend where they really and it extends back through the weekend. I mean, they could have picked any one of three guys for Big East Player of the Week this week, and it ended up being Ben North, which was kind of surprising to me. I thought it would be Waxman. Waxman is hitting the ball very hard right now.
Yeah.
And then you have Nate McHugh as well, who's in that order. They're all playing really well at the moment. So I don't know. I maybe this is the one that Creighton gets, or one of them that I like. But like we
I
said,
think anything is very possible. I mean, obviously, Nebraska hasn't won the series since when?
2017.
Yeah. So, your opportunity to do that at home, and otherwise it'll go to like May 12th when they play again, I think. So
May 12th. Now that'll be a fun night. I hope they get a huge crowd for that, right?
I am planning on taking my son to that one.
Baseball.
That is the idea.
Exciting. So that'll be tonight at Haymarket Park. You'll be able to hear it right here on 1620 The Zone with myself and our broken wrist friend, John Bishop, as he gets
Healed, bro.
He just fully healed.
He does still have a nasty scar.
Ugh.
They had to cinch him back up. I mean, it's like elbow.
Yeah,
to
I
wrist.
still like trying to mentally put the whole thing together. How it was just tripping over the bag.
Behind the bag.
You got to be careful when you get older.
It hurt. By the way, so Mitch Sherman will join us here in about 15, 20 minutes. Jacob Dill will join us to talk some Creighton basketball in the 9:00 hour. So that's tonight. I also saw this last night. There is a Husker auction going on right now. There's some good stuff on here, and I wonder if there's anything that Mike Schaefer might be interested
There
in.
was nothing that I will probably actually bid
Of
on.
course.
There was some stuff, some basketball stuff in there that'd be cool. Like there's a signed team poster that'd be really awesome to have.
I like
if you wanted to throw that in there.
I think there's some good value on the bag of gear. Like that's the kind of stuff that I would be interested in. They just pack a bag for you and they give you a whole bunch of team issued stuff. You have to bid on it. Obviously, all this stuff is for the champions benefit, which the silent auction closes on April 20, so 10 days from now at 7:45. All this is, you can find this on the internet. I am interested in a variety of different things. First of all, you could bid on a bronze pig.
Yeah, the whistle pig at the very end. It's like the very last item.
Yes.
That was a great one. I like
Donated by Whistle Pig. It is a bronze pig. You could bid on that right now if you would like to. The other one that I felt like was really that caught my eye. I mean, there's a lot of them that caught my eye, including experience for 2 days deep sea fishing off Miami in the Bahamas for 4 people.
That would be fantastic. Unfortunately, it's a little bit out of my price range. Starting bid and everything.
How about this? Dinner for 6 at Troy Dannon's house.
Dinner for 6 at Troy Dannon's house. That'd be fun.
6 people for dinner at Troy Dannon's house this summer.
That would be neat. What about the Bud Light cooler commemorating Nebraska men's basketball's first NCAA tournament win?
Wouldn't be for me, probably.
Probably not for you.
Probably for you.
It'd be a lot
Josh.
more fun if it came all chained up and everything.
That'd be cool. But they cut the chains off.
They did cut the chains off, so it doesn't have the same thing. The one that I would actually consider bidding on, though its price is now too high. This would be fun to have in the basement. The large original Orange Bowl sign from 1980.
Yeah, that's good.
With just the orange and the crown.
That'd be a great piece of wall decoration.
Seems like it would work really well in my basement.
So they are auctioning off, since they're redoing the Devaney Center right now.
Yeah,
they're auctioning off all of the banners that are not. I suppose not all of them. A few of the old Big 8, Big volleyball, basketball. Well, I guess Big 8, Big 12, and NCAA. Yes, these are volleyball banners, I would assume. Yeah. Big 12 champion, Big 12 champion, Big 8 champion, 1986. Yeah, these are all volleyball banners that were hanging in the Devaney Center for years, which I mean, that's really cool. A couple $100 for that is the bidding right now. There's all sorts of like one-time experiences with coaches, like play golf with.
No, I was gonna say, should we pay to play golf with Amy Williams?
It'd be fun.
Do you think she'd be fun to golf with?
I do.
I do too. I think she'd be a good hang.
Okay.
I think she'd be a good hang. Should we sign up and bid so Josh Peterson can have access to the track and have lunch? I don't know if it's with the track team or if he has to eat the lunch separately, but he could just run on the track all day.
He's a hater of track, isn't he? Josh is a hater of track. He's a lover of running, which is very confusing.
But he could just run on the track. Like he could do whatever. He could train for ultra marathons as they often do, just running on the track.
But then he'd have to live in Lincoln or go there all
Well,
the
he
time.
doesn't have to live in Lincoln, but he'd do it one day.
He'd have to go there all the time.
It's $125 for all access to a track training day with lunch.
Now there are a couple, and I know Nebraska was doing this last year, and maybe they've been doing it for the last couple of years. The ability to like open the doors for the tunnel walk.
Yeah, I saw that in there as well.
They've done a little bit of that. I wonder how much more. I mean, all this stuff is donations toward the athletic department. I assume that's what it's going for here. And also what you're undergoing right now is a renovation to the Devaney Center. So there's a couple chairs on there. There's a renovation that is ongoing with the football stadium at the moment. That is starting with the football stadium at the moment. So I wonder what kind of stuff will be unearthed from that movement and moving stuff in and out. Remember they had the garage sale during the spring game?
Sure do.
Or spring day, whatever the hell it was.
I think they
year.
should bring back the garage sale.
I agree. So just random stuff. You could profit off of it, make a few grand or something like that, and add it to the bottom line of the old athletic department.
So how do you think like we should get a large John Cook inflatable to put with Mr. Bones on top of the building?
So yeah, I saw that one. What's that? Like that was going pretty expensive.
Yeah, it still has a starting bid, which means nobody has bid on it yet.
So the giant John Cook inflated, and we're talking about giant here. I mean, this is
looks large.
How many feet tall?
So the best is it looks like you have at least a 6-foot man who's dwarfed by it in this photo here.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
That's got to be at least like 18 feet tall.
Yep.
All right, 18-foot tall John Cook inflatable statue.
Yeah.
I'd pay a lot of money for that.
Look, I think that would be a great idea to put out here.
Good question for Mike. Is do a podcast with Matt Rule an option? I don't see any Matt Rule related items on here.
That would, how like some of these are like you could take a spin class with Rhonda Revelle, or you can, here's one of them, team issued golf bag and 1 hour of golf lesson with the women's golf coach, Brianne Hall. What if it was Matt Rule teaches you how to host a podcast?
Love it.
He teaches you how to do it. You
podcast
don't get to do a
school
podcast
with Rule.
him. But yeah, you get a podcast school session with Matt Rule. Would you be interested?
He has probably the most listened to podcast in the state, even though it's been on hiatus since like
I would anticipate
November or something like that.
Now trying to think of what would be a very distant second.
I don't know. I guess I don't know what his numbers were like. I don't know what kind of numbers he was doing, but I figured he was probably doing pretty well. He just gave all that up. Didn't he have an endorsement deal on the podcast? He was like driving around like a golf cart.
Oh,
remember?
Yeah, it could have been. I never really listened to the podcast, if I'm honest.
Podcast school with Rule could be another option on the benefit there. All right, let's take a break. Mitch Sherman is going to join us in just a few minutes. Let's do this now, Joey. How about this? Your chance to win tickets, speaking of things that are going on over at Nebraska, to the Zach Bryan concert at Memorial Stadium, which is April 25th, featuring special guest Kings of Leon, J.R. Carroll. April 25 at Memorial Stadium. We want you to be, do we want there to be a qualifier, or do we want to just say be caller X?
Probably just be caller X.
Yeah, just make it easy.
Or we can have people. I like when people yell something at Joey.
Okay. So they had to yell a type of pasta, which didn't even work because it said pasta salad.
That's right.
Okay. Should we have them name an interstate for Joey? You have to tell Joey an interstate that's not in the state of Nebraska. Not that hard.
That's pretty easy.
Just really any number that isn't 80.
They could just pick a number and it'd probably work.
All right. Call 402-951-1620 right now. Call Joey and be the first person to shout any number that isn't 80 at Joey.
Basically. But put an I in front of it.
Anything. And then you're going to win tickets to the Zach Bryan concert, which is April 25th at Memorial Stadium. 402-951-1620. People were waiting very patiently for the directions, which I appreciate. Some people will just call in and go and go for it. We'll be back after this on 1620 The Zone. 1620 Zone, who's this? All right, congratulations to who?
Joe.
Joe, who called in and said 94 to Joey. Where does Interstate 94 run through, Joey?
Starts in Billings, Montana, and ends in over in Ontario, Canada. It goes
It goes east to
Yeah.
west or west to east.
west to east. It starts in Montana, goes through all of North Dakota, goes through Minnesota, Wisconsin, a little bit of Illinois, a little bit of Indiana, and then ends up in Michigan.
Look at that.
So why would you determine that it starts in Billings instead of starts?
Well, that's
on the
because
other side?
where Interstate 90 cuts off, because 90 would take over going the
Gotcha.
northwest.
He's right.
route. It would go
Well,
south
I'm
towards
sure there's rules
Wyoming,
for these.
and then
I don't
goes-
know what they are though.
So the rules are it starts from like 0 at the very south point
Mhm.
and goes all the way up to like 94 at the very top.
Gotcha.
That's kind of how it works.
Huh. The map is like it just starts in the middle of Montana and then
Yeah, just
goes all the way to the
east
Canada
Billings.
border.
So I've probably been on that interstate
In Chicago, I mean,
Yeah,
in the
well,
Chicago
it
area.
meets up with 80 for a bit, just
Okay.
east of Joliet.
That's the interstate that goes from Chicago to Milwaukee, right?
Yes.
Yes.
Is that the one that would have the when we were discussing it goes through where northern Illinois would be? Is that 94?
No, that's 88.
I can't. I will never get it right.
DeKalb, no.
I would fail all the interstate tests.
Joey would be on top of it, though. As we're joined
Not
now
all of them. I know the general area around.
on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Mitch Sherman from The Athletic. Morning, Mitch.
Good morning.
You know about
Enjoying this conversation.
I-94?
Yeah, I mean, I'm familiar with I-94. I don't think I've spent a whole lot of time on it, as you guys said, maybe in Chicago. But just the interstate talk in general is I feel like I've had this conversation with my kids. My wife would want no part of it, but we've probably done that on a road trip or something. I like it in the Dallas area where you can be on I-20 and then you just drive a few miles and you're on I-30.
It's great.
Blows my mind.
Our producer Joey has a special talent where basically you can give him a city.
Yeah,
and
give him a city, Mitch.
Yeah,
I just read the maps.
and he will tell you which interstates go through it.
Charlotte, North Carolina.
I gave him
boy.
that one once, and then it stumped him just like
I-20.
it
Is
I
this
think
like the
I-20's
same
in there.
one that he had gotten before?
is. This is the
No,
one I
no,
gave him
yeah.
that one day when I challenged him. Yeah, Charlotte, North Carolina.
I think I-20 runs through it.
Does it have
I-85.
Is there a north-south interstate that goes through Charlotte?
I think 85.
Oh, yeah, I was thinking maybe.
Okay, it's anchored north-south by I-77
77 and 85.
and also I-85. Yeah.
Okay.
85.
So I
Good
got
job.
one of them.
Yeah, that counts. That counts.
Well
All right.
done.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic is joining us. We appreciate it. Mitch had been sifting through all of our weird stuff. Baseball tonight at Haymarket Park, coming off of a big weekend for Nebraska baseball. I feel like the only question that people talk about when they talk about Nebraska baseball is, are they going to host a regional?
Yeah.
If that
Yeah.
is the question, last week did not do any help for them as they went 1-3 against Kansas and Oregon. And so how big does that make this week for them?
Yeah, really big. I agree with you. It does seem to just always come back to that. That's kind of unfortunate because it doesn't allow us to enjoy or we're not living in the moment of this. Like this is a really good team, and whether it ends up in the top 16 or in the next 16, it shouldn't be the only conversation. We get like a little overly obsessed with those kind of topics, and it happened in Nebraska with Nebraska basketball this year too. Once the conversation moved away from are they going to make the tournament, and once they were 20-0 or even before that they were going to make the tournament, and it's like, oh, can they be a 1 seed? Can they be a 2 seed? And it's like, let's just see what happens and let them play. Like Nebraska baseball could win a regional as a 2 seed on the road somewhere.
It's been done before. Yes.
Yeah. Is it easier if you're at home? Absolutely. But it doesn't have to be the end all be all. And I'm definitely guilty of falling into that conversation as well. But since we're talking about it, yes, to answer your question, this week is non-negotiable. Nebraska has to have a good stretch of the next 5 games from today, Tuesday, until next Tuesday. I mean, I'm thinking like got to win 4 of these 5 in order to stay in that conversation.
What has kind of impressed you the most about Nebraska baseball this season? I mean, and similar guys from a year ago, but then also some new players, obviously Mac Moyer, some of the pitchers, others that have stepped up as well. What has stood out to you when you sort of look at this season, and what has impressed you the most?
Probably a couple things. That they're well-rounded and they don't have a deficient area. That's why they're 27-9 largely, because I don't think this is a team that's at the top of the country and, in hitting or pitching or in there or close in defense. But my point is that they can do all of those things, and you're going to stay in games. Like you said, the games that Nebraska lost last week, it was a bad week for Nebraska baseball in the record book, and it was bad for their hosting potential and in the Big Ten race and all of that. It went 1-3, but they had a 2-run loss to a contender in the Big 12, and then 2 1-run losses on the road to a contender in the Big Ten. And I mean, like a postseason contender in both of those leagues, and a title contender in the case of Kansas. So Big 12 title contender. Like they, even when they aren't at their best, they're in games because they're good at all of the things that make up winning in the sport. So I'm most impressed by that. And then also a component of a team that is going to be in a good position come June is just resiliency. Like you can have a team it's good on the mound and good at the plate and good defensively, but they're not real tough mentally. And when they get down 5-0 on the road on a Saturday in conference play, like it ends up just being an 8-0 game, and they live for another day. And I don't think that's the makeup of this team at all. They kind of take after their coaching staff, and because it's not just Will Bull. Like Rob Childress is wired like that as well, and I think so are some of the other assistants. I know, of course, know the history with Rob and Will is more than any of them, but they're fighters, and you saw that on Saturday when Oregon jumped out to a big lead and Nebraska came back and won. And it's certainly not the first time that Nebraska has responded in that way.
We were talking a little bit, Mitch Sherman is with us. Mitch, we were talking about Price Sanford in the context in which he returns to Nebraska basketball which is still somewhat undecided, given we don't know exactly what the pieces around him are going to be. Don't you feel like a lot of the conversation, I mean, there is what he needs to do better individually as a player to make himself a better NBA prospect or whatever it might be. Can we properly put his return into context without knowing the pieces that are going to be around him yet?
Well, I think we know enough of the pieces I think Frager is huge for Sanford. He needs somebody on his team who can be a player that takes the attention of the defense away from him. And when Braden Frager's on the court, you have to pay attention to him from a defensive standpoint. So that takes some of the focus off of Price, and he's still going to get a ton of it. Like whatever you saw this year with teams grabbing onto him, and they figured that out, early in the Big Ten season, like that's all going to be happening next year too. So he can work on getting stronger and fighting through that, and Nebraska can probably do some things offensively. And I think they already did a lot of that, but do some things offensively to open things up for Price. But a lot of how he fits in, how he's going to fit into the team. Like he's going to be their number one shooting option, their number one scoring option. But he doesn't necessarily create. He can, like you saw in that second Iowa game where Iowa was just so determined to stop him from getting open on the perimeter, and Nebraska countered in its game plan and said, we're going to use Price to post somebody up here. And against some teams that'll work. And he went into the lane and he was successful in that strategy. So that's good. And I think like diversifying his skill set so he does that more than just, once every 10 or 12 games is probably good. If he can add that element to his game where he's dangerous, and it's not going to work against every team. Like that wouldn't have worked against Illinois or Michigan, but and it won't next year either because he's 6'7". Then that's good. But yeah, there's definitely some of for everybody on the team, for Frager as well, and Cale Jacobson and Connor Siege and all the players who are returning. their roles and how Nebraska uses them is still to be determined in part by the pieces that Fred Hoiberg adds here in the next few weeks.
I am kind of curious because you've been at this for a long time and you've watched college sports evolve. How interested are you in the transfer portal beyond just the Nebraska piece of it? And this could be football or basketball, or I mean, if you wanted to pick a different sport. But do you find yourself like gravitating towards the stories or the tweets or the rumors of it? Do you just largely ignore it if it's not Nebraska related? I'm just kind of interested from a Mitch Sherman sports fan perspective. How have you sort of incorporated transfer portal coverage or any of it into just sort of how you consume sports?
Well, I try not to have like a bubble around me when it comes to consuming stuff about Nebraska, consuming content about Nebraska, because it's really impossible, whether it's football or basketball or baseball or whatever, it's really impossible to get a great sense of what this Nebraska team is without knowing the competition and without knowing what's going on in other places around the country. You can walk out. I mean, the classic example is like you can walk out on the field on the first day of preseason camp and look at the Nebraska football team and see a bunch of guys who are, incredible athletes. And look at that guy. He's 6'5", 260 pounds. And this team's going to go undefeated. But you have to always be mindful of what's happening in other programs as well. Like they're big and strong and fast. And in a lot of cases, bigger and stronger and faster in recent years. So yeah, I don't want to lose sight of that when it comes to the portal either. I want to keep tabs on like what's happening around the Big Ten, what's happening around the country, what kind of conversations and discussions are occurring, storylines. But I'm not out there following every minute of it. I'm kind of worn out by the transactional nature of college sports, whether that's the portal or recruiting. And I would like to just be able to say, just give me the roster when they're ready to play. But it doesn't work that way. Like, you have to follow this thing, and I do. I want to follow these sports around the calendar, and what there is to follow right now, if it's basketball season or if it's January and it's football season, the predominant topic is what's happening in the portal.
Mitch, I am, if you want to tease your upcoming story this week that you have, feel free to do so. I'm excited to
I am interested.
I don't think I want to tease it yet.
Okay.
I will.
There's something coming.
Well, now I'm more interested.
There's still some work to be done on it, but I did sit down with a prominent Nebraska football player who is on the minds of a lot of people here over the weekend.
Well, that's a tease. That counts.
Yeah, I'm not saying who it is.
All right.
We'll just say that. But it's something to look forward to. Maybe this week, maybe next week. There's some details and I haven't written it yet. So that's
you should probably write it first.
Yeah.
The anti-tease worked. Good job, Mitch.
All right. You can all be on pins and needles until it comes out.
All right. Thanks, Mitch. Talk to you later.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Mitch Sherman from The Athletic, where you can find his yet to be written story on a person who is involved with Nebraska football.
Yeah. All right.
And is prominent. I believe that
was
the word that was used.
No, he didn't say it's a current Nebraska football player.
I don't know what he said.
Okay.
I'm not sure the parameters he put on it.
Okay.
It's coming at some point.
I'm interested.
There is a headline, a story about a potential future Nebraska football player that we could talk about when we return. We'll run out the hour that way. Plenty more from you all as well. I also got a couple of emails that I haven't got to yet from either overnight or from yesterday's show. So we could do that as we continue on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. According to Rivals, they say emoji, alert emoji, news alert emoji. 5-star tight end Ahmad Hudson is down to LSU and Nebraska.
Whoa.
Just the two.
Not a big surprise. It's kind of been these two teams for a while. LSU being the state school of which Ahmad Hudson resides in. Nebraska has recruited him really hard. Tim Verghese, our guy Tim, Monday guest Tim,
Shout out Tim.
has been all over this recruitment, and he has basically pretty consistently said, regardless of what happens, it's going to be a battle all the way to signing day. And that he also thinks that even though it points like it's LSU, thinks Nebraska is in a really strong position. A lot to track on that. A July
Is he
4th
going to play?
commitment.
Is he going to play hoop?
So that's the big thing. Nebraska's path to playing basketball is a lot clearer than the Will Wade, Lane Kiffin.
Oh, he's finally figuring out that Will Wade will say literally whatever.
The Will
it
Wade
takes
Lane
to-
Kiffin intersection
Yeah.
might be a little bit more
difficult.
to navigate than the Fred Hoiberg.
Yeah, but at the
Rule.
same time, Will Wade will tell him whatever he wants
Sure,
to hear.
yeah. I don't know that it's the Will Wade concern there. It's that Lane Kiffin probably has less interest in a
Have him
basketball
playing
playing tight end.
Gotcha.
Just my guess. I don't have, the read on that entirely.
Also, this from Robin Washit. Nebraska is hosting a transfer portal topic in basketball today, and a familiar name for me, Bowden Kapke, who played at Boston College last year, had played the previous 2 years at Butler.
Yep.
He is visiting Nebraska today.
This is a Drew Fielder contingency plan, I suspect.
Yeah, what's up with that? I thought they were good on
He was
field.
going to go visit Washington. He was going to visit. He visited Nebraska, and then he was going to go to Washington, and then he was going to decide after that.
Kind of feels like
I thought that we would have a decision at this point. I
ideally
don't know.
you want the decision very shortly after they visit.
Right. The thing is, the fact that it hasn't come immediately after the Washington visit doesn't seem like a bad thing. I think for me,
Sure.
it was like if you were Nebraska, you got the first visit, you hope there's no second visit. Washington gets the visit, and now we wait.
Little
In
contingency.
the meantime,
option.
you have a contingency plan.
Last year, Bowden Kapke shot 87 threes and made 29 of them. That is 33%. So not a very high volume 3-point shooter at all, but capable, 6'11", and will be going into his 4th year of college basketball. Was pretty good inside the painted area. He was like a small factor in what Butler was doing, if I remember right, 2 years ago. I saw the name and I was like, oh yeah, Bowden Kapke. I remember that guy. And there you go. And now he leaves Boston College because who would want to play for Bill Murray's son or whatever he is? Bill. Yeah, it's his son, right?
Is it Chris? Is
Luke.
that his name? Luke Murray.
The
Yeah, no,
wrong
he's
UConn
a
assistant.
head basketball coach.
He sure is. Black Cat writes in, Kapke, yikes. Hey man, there's some Butler guys that are out there just floating around. Now, where the hell is Finley Bizjack? That's my question.
I don't know what that means.
Did Finley Bizjack he went into the portal, right? Let me do a quick Google for Finley Bizjack.
Said he's
Iowa basketball transfer portal target commits to Big 12 foe.
Okay.
Wow, I got this from an Iowa site. Finley Bizjack went to West Virginia.
Whoa.
What? Yeah,
Crown champions, West Virginia.
dude.
Almost
Exactly.
assured to start 20-0 and be a 4 seed
Okay,
in the NCAA tournament.
So there you go. So when West Virginia is a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament next year, and they're going to be led by Finley Bizjack, people are going to be very excited about West Virginia because they'll realize that Finley Bizjack is hilarious.
Okay. All right.
He is. He's getting them shots up.
Getting shots up.
Mhm.
That makes sense.
That's what Finley Bizjack does, ladies and gentlemen. I did not know that he committed to West Virginia. Good to know. I got this email, Mike Schaefer, late last night.
Okay.
Subject line: confused new Jaysker.
Okay. A new Jaysker.
Yeah, this is all very new. This is Dan who texted in yesterday
All right.
to the show. He's emailed now in the Equitable Bank inbox. I got out of the Army last year. Thank you for your service. And learned to love Nebraska baseball. However, I live in Omaha and I went to the Nebraska versus Creighton game. I really appreciate Creighton baseball now. Who do I root for tomorrow? Please guide me today. Thanks in advance. Baseball Dan. P.S. I won't hear this until 7:30. In between 7:30 and 8:15. Oh, I think we missed your window. Thanks
we
again.
Did miss the window.
Sorry, but maybe you'll hear this on the podcast or something like that later. Or maybe we'll just use you as a pawn for
Or someone's
5-minute
like, hey, Dan,
conversation.
they talked about you on the radio.
Hopefully you hear from someone who tells you this. So, what should he do?
Well, he's going to have to pick a side. You can't just go in and root for a good game. You need a winner.
You can't say, I hope both teams have fun.
I don't think you should.
But people do that in like volleyball, Creighton versus Nebraska volleyball.
We talked about how I didn't feel like that was a contentious, I think it lacks sort of the contention.
And you are more likely to do it in this case, given that it's a midweek game.
Sure.
And they always have a little bit less stakes to them, much like volleyball. It's a non-conference game. Now, in basketball, it doesn't feel that way. And I can't exactly put my finger on why. I mean, maybe just that Creighton's been really good for a while and they've
That'd
dominated.
be my guess.
Yeah. I suppose
It's more
that's
of
it.
a sticking point, I think.
So has this rivalry now taken off in baseball because Creighton has dominated recently? Is that?
I think it goes back to when they played in the regional and there was actual stakes for it. And like I feel like this game has had something extra for a long time, like beyond just when Creighton has been winning.
Ed Service definitely wanted that bad. Yeah.
And so like I think that matters. And when you feel like that, when you feel like it matters to this team that you're playing. And I remember covering it when Nebraska wasn't particularly good in 2010 and still felt like it was a big deal to Mike Anderson at that point.
Definitely.
And so I think like the juice for that was a lot of it. They played in those like that one regional final. So I think sort of stems maybe from there or a little bit before there. Definitely a bigger feel there than volleyball, a lot less than basketball.
Yes.
How I would describe that. As far as Dan's question, I guess I would want a little bit more context as to
what he's looking for.
Well, that certainly, but also like he feels compelled to root for Creighton because he enjoyed the experience at the stadium.
I'm not sure.
Is that what did it for him? Has he just gone to more Creighton games now?
He lives in Omaha.
He lives in Omaha.
Mm-hmm. Maybe he watched them on ESPN Plus and really loved the broadcasters.
Yes. Well, look, I don't know that I can give a satisfactory answer as to why he should pick one over the other.
Yeah, why? I don't know, but I will tell you an answer. Creighton.
Yeah, and mine would obviously be Nebraska. So they have the better season going. It probably means more for them to win this game.
So do I have to break the tie then?
There was one of the two
break the
teams
tie. Okay,
won their
great.
conference regular season and postseason championship last year and made it to a regional final. And one of those teams wears blue and the other team does not.
Yeah. The other team won its
blue is a much better color.
Postseason tournament in that stadium.
That's true.
You know,
that Creighton was not involved in.
Right. They've won a lot of games in that stadium. Now they need to win a game in their own stadium.
Something that
they might need it more.
Struggled doing in this rivalry in the last long time.
They have struggled doing that.
Yeah. Joey, are you breaking the tie?
Yes, and it's going to be Creighton.
Oh,
representing the hometown.
I thought he was going to pick Nebraska.
Who could have guessed?
Any of the non-football sports.
Then we bring in Matt, and Matt would go with Nebraska, and then Josh would go because stinky Creighton baseball player.
He would dislike stinky Creighton.
Josh would go with Creighton, and then we go with
Josh would go with Creighton.
I don't know what Josh Hodgson would do. I would guess Creighton.
I don't know. Well, thank you, Dan, for the email, and I hope you find peace in whichever one you decide. We will come back 9 o'clock hour to come on Happer and Schaefer on 1620 The Zone. This week's half off deal is to Churco, where you can receive two $25 gift vouchers for just $25. It is a terrific restaurant located at 192nd and Q, CIRCO Omaha.
I bet they have pasta.
.com. Fresh pastas, handcrafted daily, is one of the things that they do have. So you can listen to Matt this week for your chance to win a $50 gift voucher for $0, or get the Zone deal Friday at 9, 1620thezone.com. You could also find more info at 1620thezone.com as well. Do we want to do a football topic here?
Yes.
We haven't talked football this week.
We have not talked football.
All right, so we're doing the stock up or stock down, kind of where things are at game over the last, just sort of randomly inserted into the show over the last couple weeks. We've talked about Anthony Calandria. We've talked about
The Holgerson offense.
what the offense might be with a different quarterback, and I believe we did the defensive line thing, didn't we?
No, we haven't.
Okay,
We haven't done that. Do you want to do defensive line?
we have defensive line. We have the havoc
Yep.
/ turnovers on defense.
Yep.
Which I'm fascinated in. I'm not sure about, but whichever way you want to go. We also have the offensive line.
So let's skip the offensive line.
All right, because I like stock up on the offensive line.
Yeah, no, I figured we'd be the same on that, and we can get to that some other time. Go more in depth on it. Let's talk havoc. Let's try to figure out
Let's
if
talk
we think
havoc.
Nebraska can create more havoc than like the 7 forced turnovers they had.
That'd be really good if they did.
last year.
That'd be really good if they did. So this is where Michael Severe has been. He's been, adamant that if Nebraska can simply just convert more of their offensive possessions into touchdowns by scoring in the red zone, then they don't necessarily need to make a big jump in this category.
I was listening
This
to
is fascinating.
I was listening to Severe's appearance on Unsportsmanlike last night, and there was a lot of just like me pointing at the radio, like Leo was pointing at the television in Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, because he was saying things that I agree with. And the debate that was happening between Bishop and Severe was, does it matter more for Nebraska's success if they force more turnovers, which is sort of where Bishop was at, like end other teams' possessions more, give yourself better field position, or kind of Severe was coming at it from, they just need to figure out how to add like a half a point to possessions because they move the ball well. They just died out inside the opponent's 40 a lot at a really high clip. And then, he got into his thoughts on Dana Holgerson, and I was just like, that's me. That's what I say.
Oh, your handshake memeing with Severe
over Dana Holgerson, basically.
Okay.
Josh Peterson can inform those who wondered how I reacted during.
For the record, Nebraska +2 in the turnover margin last year,
which is remarkable because they didn't turn it over that much, and they certainly didn't force many.
They lost 11 turnovers and they gained 13.
Yeah. So
7 fumble recoveries and 6 interceptions. The thing that worries me about that number, even though the turnover gained 1 per game on defense is quite low. If you 7 fumbles and 6 interceptions is bothersome to me. Fumbles are more luck.
Yeah. Fumbles are opportunity. Ball's got to stay in. You got to recover it.
And you have more of those than you did interceptions last year. It was a
you had a very good secondary last year. You just didn't force turnovers, and it comes back to this.
It was a weak defense at the end of the year that couldn't stop the run, and that certainly was never going to be able to get turnovers as a bailout option.
And they never forced quarterbacks into making panic throws that allowed your defense to kind of take advantage of it.
I don't even think we got there because they couldn't stop the
interceptions. 2 of them were just Aiden Childs overthrowing a guy hitting Javen Wright. Those were your interceptions. Was it Wright or was it? No, it was Deshaun Singleton. I don't know why I confused the 2 of those. Remember after the game,
who else had
someone joked
that
year? Singleton's had the 2 easiest interceptions one would ever have in their career.
Yes.
Because Childs basically looked like he was throwing it to him. He just overthrew the guy over the middle.
By the way, the other interceptions last year,
Donovan Jones had 1, I think.
So Javen Wright had 1, Singleton had 2, Donovan Jones had 1, and Andrew Marshall had 1. Marshall's was in the USC game on that ass throw by Jaden Mayava too. That got Nebraska back into the
I
game.
thought that was,
and then Dylan Raiola broke his leg.
I thought that was Jones was on that one, but that was Marshall with that interception.
Now you're making me think about it. I'm not sure.
For some reason, I thought it was Jones. But
why do I feel like Donovan Jones got one in like the bowl game or something like that?
I don't think they had one
in the bowl game. All right, I'll have to look.
Well, it doesn't matter.
It doesn't.
The
but
point
now
being,
I'm trapped.
They need to force more of these in a pretty desperate fashion. Like to be a better defense.
Andrew Marshall's interception was in the USC game.
Okay, so you had that right.
Yes.
Do you remember when the Donovan Jones one?
I can tell you.
And obviously Malcolm Hartzog's was at the end of the Cincinnati.
Donovan Jones's interception was in the Northwestern game.
Okay.
Which I remember none of.
You remember none of the Northwestern game?
No. What happened?
Nebraska won.
They did.
They struggled with Preston Stone, which is not a compliment.
No.
Kenneth Williams had a kick return for a touchdown.
Yeah.
Dylan Raiola was largely not very good until he was really good for the last drive and a half, 2 drives of that game. He was excellent. Nebraska hit on multiple third downs on their final drive of the game to win. Like it's just quality throw, quality. Like they showed up in a way that they could have all game, but they didn't really until that last drive. And it was like, oh, cool. Can I see this version of the team more? And then we never saw it ever again.
Okay. No, it's starting to ring a bell now.
So, yeah, that was coming off the Minnesota game where the fan base was convinced Nebraska might never win another game. And they ended up beating Northwestern. And then they didn't really win games after that.
So they were right.
The fan base wasn't completely wrong. But
they were 6-2 after that game.
And they would have been 7-2 had they finished off USC.
Had they finished them off. But people still try to make the argument that they would have definitely won.
I think they would have had he been healthy.
I don't. I think they find a way to blow it. But Nebraska had
history would probably err with you on that one.
13 turnovers game last year. So you're a little bit, in theory, you're a little bit better on the defensive line. If we're talking about havoc.
And that's where all of this comes from. You have to have guys that get pressure on a quarterback to force those interceptions, or you have to scheme it so well that they're just thrown into blind spots where there's a defender lurking.
What I don't want to do is, ultimately it will come down to this one way or the other. But where we always find ourselves in August and September is who's their pass rusher. And then somebody will be created.
It always has to be one instead of they can just do it collectively.
Somebody will be created out of thin air and say, "Oh my God, look at that guy! That guy can really pass rush."
Do you want to guess as to who that's going to be? I have a guess.
Did Willis McGahee come back?
Willis McGahee came back.
Okay,
he had a very rough year last year.
Yeah, people are going to somehow convince themselves that it'll be him.
I think that could be an interesting one. I don't think it'll be that. I think, and I'm guilty of this too, because I'm very intrigued by it. There's been a lot of Anthony Jones talk.
Oh, the journeyman.
The journeyman.
Yes. The married father.
Yes.
The married father.
He missed the spring game because he became a dad.
Congratulations.
Which is very cool. We like that for Anthony
Fatherhood
Jones.
Rocks.
I think there's definitely some interest in what he can provide with sort of the Rob Orich scheme, and Roy Manning had done a really good job at San Diego State getting guys like Trey White and other ones to really become effective pass rushers. If that can all come together in the Big Ten remains to be seen.
I just think
I think Anthony Jones will be the guy that people are like, okay, this could be, you could have an effective pass rusher.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try and have this conversation without talking about individual pieces, because I just think Nebraska's defensive attitude last year obviously lacked in the back, quarter of the season, and wasn't in the right place for the majority of the season. And it just completely fell off the rails. And so with a new defensive coordinator, and yes, some better personnel, certainly older personnel along the defensive line, which is good. I don't know that those guys are all that disruptive, but I don't know that it matters that much.
They should be.
I don't know that it matters that much, because I just think Nebraska will be in the right place more often. And if that happens, they should be far better at defending the run than they were a year ago. And that should create more opportunities for them to be able to get after passers because people aren't running all over them all the time. With that being said, you're still going to have a guy go out there and make plays.
Yeah.
And
that's sort
whether
of the thing.
that's Winery or Jones or, Whittington or McGahee, like whoever's coming off the edge there. Yeah, sure. I mean, it could be any of those guys. I just don't like, I wonder if that's the next step. Like, I think the first step is just being stout.
Yeah,
and
collectively taking away, eating space.
That feels like a year 2 thing for me. The making the jump to being explosive. So I'm not banking on it, and I'm also banking on Nebraska to maybe they'll score in the red zone a little bit more because their quarterback has some playmaking ability. But I also think they're going to turn it over a little bit more too. And so it's the math equation really is it's going to come down to just a few things and a few plays here and there.
I agree with that. I think that you could live with more turnover. Like, I think you could live with a negative turnover differential if the explosion comes along with the offense. Like, if you're getting more,
you will score on more big plays.
You're scoring from different parts of the field instead of having to sustain 14 play drives.
That will definitely happen.
The ball on 4th and 1 because you can't pick up 1 yard with your All-American running back, or you run it from under center with Heinrich Harburg, which is no longer an option for them.
Thank God.
So some of this is, does your offensive coordinator have anything left in the bag, or is he fully cooked? I think that's going to be a big part of this conversation. For me, like, he's going to have to prove that it wasn't just Dylan Raiola. We've given him a ton of grace with that.
I am.
And I haven't. And so a lot of it is, okay, like, go prove it. Like, show that you have something in 2026 to offer as an offensive play caller, because you didn't in 2025 for most of the year.
Mm-hmm.
Now, whether that was because of the pieces, we'll find out. As far as the defense, you hit on a big part of it for me. Is Nebraska just has lacked individual defensive players that have, like, been able to create things for themselves. And so a lot of their defenses that haven't been great have collectively had good enough players, but no one that sort of just takes over or can just make the play himself.
Yep.
And so, in the absence of that, you get somewhat solid seasons. You get moments where Ty Robinson, for most of 2024 and a big chunk of 2023 was a huge impact throughout what you want to do. And that allows the rest of the defense to settle in. I think they could have a really good secondary. I like what this picture looks like when you're talking about McDougal and Marshall and Jones. And they love Danny Odom, the 5-star kid. I think they, we've heard them talk about Jameer Khan and how he can help out there. There's still some of those, you have Rex Guthrie, you have Caleb Benning, you have depth in that secondary. None of that matters if you can't get after the quarterback to force some of those throws and allow those guys to make plays. Like, I hope we can see Andrew Marshall make a few more plays on passes. Donovan Jones, same thing. Dwayne McDougal had, a couple interceptions at San Diego State because of that. That only really comes about if you can create the havoc up front.
Yeah, I was ready by the end of the year last year to see some new guys back in the secondary, and they mixed them in a little bit, especially at those safety spots.
While the secondary was good almost the entirety of the year until the very end when the whole dam broke.
Yeah,
and it's like I can't put a lot of blame on them when they can't stop anything up front and they can't create any havoc. And
maybe there was just too much.
Go cover while Utah's receivers can run around for 12 seconds and then catch jump balls.
I think there was a little bit, probably too much responsibility on those really back end guys in the run game. If Nebraska puts more people in the box and is in the right place,
Rex Guthrie has to hit the run fit though. Like, some of that's
what I'm saying.
Those guys have to hit their run fits, even if the front doesn't hold exactly as you want. You needed your middle linebackers to not miss as much as they did. You had 2 guys go to the same hole multiple times. They were doing it in the bowl game, even after they spent the entirety of bowl media availability talking about, we're not going to have this happen. It was like one of the first plays in the game against Utah. 2 linebackers step into the same run fit, or a linebacker and a safety do. But you have to get that worked out. But that can't be consistently happening. It shouldn't have been happening in game 13, and it shouldn't have been happening after all the bowl prep. And you saw it right away. And so if that continues to happen under a different defensive coordinator, that is a huge.
That's what I'm saying. I think bringing in new guys, and obviously it wasn't that
And
was
I'm
the
excited.
case.
Dexter Foster, Owen Chambliss, like their second level is interesting too.
Yeah, and then the coordinator.
But can it be good? Like those are two. Like I am interested. I am not entirely sure that it all comes together to looking good or being effective.
Yeah, I guess in order to say what good is, you'd have to put a number on it.
Right.
But I
do you think
in general, yes, I do think the improvement will be vast.
Can they force 18 turnovers? So 18 is a number I always use because that's 1.5 over a 12-game season. Can they force 18?
No.
And that's not really that difficult of a number to get to.
Yeah, no. I'm going to say no.
And I'm a no on it as well. I think they're right around where they were last year.
But I think they're going to be sturdier.
I think defensively
just because
they're going
they'll be
to
in the right place.
Better.
Yeah.
But I just don't know that they're going to be like a plus for you, which is why I put so much more of the emphasis on the offense. That's why I did last year too. And they failed in that regard.
Let's take a break. Any thoughts on that? We'd love to hear it. 402-951-1620. You can, of course, text that number and then tweet at us at HappenSchafe on the Liquid Trucking Zone Twitter feed. Email Connor, Mike, 1620thezone.com on the Equitable Bank Zone inbox. We'll be back. Let's talk a little Creighton basketball, what's going on in the transfer portal, and anything else. Oh, a man whose team plays in the NBA play-in tournament tonight.
9:00 tonight.
It's during Padilla time, and it's Jacob Padilla up next on 1620 The Zone.
Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go. Go, Pack, go.
Jacob Padilla, Herd at Sports, your source for Creighton hoops and Packers banter. Jacob Padilla on Happer and Schaefer, 1620, The Zone.
All right, joined now on the Prairie Flower Casino Zone hotline by our good friend Jacob Padilla from Herd at Sports. Jacob, good morning. How are you?
Good morning, guys. I'm doing all right.
Good. You got a long wait till Padilla time tonight with the Blazers and the Suns in the play-in tournament.
Yep, all come down to this. I mean,
Kind of.
Yeah. Let's take care of business now and then see what happens in the first round. I mean, no matter what happens, this season has been much more enjoyable than last year.
Yeah,
And
weren't they kind of picked to be in the basement this year?
Yes. Oh yeah, very much so. I mean, obviously they trade away Durant and kind of reset, new head coach, and brought in some guys, but not necessarily like big name guys. And it's worked. Like they found an identity, and a little bit of that has slipped, and they've had some injury issues throughout the season that have kind of impacted that in a big way. But overall, I mean, just the way they play, they have guys like Jordan Goodwin, who just is an absolute madman on the court. Role players like that come in and just really set the tone. And they've I think for the most part that they've maximized this season compared to the last couple of years, where very much underachieved what they should have been able to do.
As we watch cop cars race down
many
Dodge,
police cars.
not entirely sure what's going on there. What remains from their NBA Finals team from 2021? Like, is it just Booker at this point?
Yeah, pretty much, I believe so. I think that's it. They've changed quite a lot since then.
Yeah, they don't even have the same owner anymore.
Correct. Yeah, it's just complete flip, and that's the cool thing about Devin Booker is they landed a guy that truly does just want to be there, and he wants to compete. It's not like he's just happy to be there forever and just cash checks and all that. Like he wants to compete. He puts it all out there, but he also wants to like build something in Phoenix and stay there. And just everything you hear about him and kind of his connection to that place. It's pretty cool that they have been able to kind of come out the other side and put together a competitive roster around him. And now we'll see what they can do moving forward. But yeah, he's I mean, I'm sure he's in a much better place right now than he has been the last couple of years, and excited for the opportunity.
Jacob, we knew that Boston was a perfect fit for Baylor Shireman when he's ended up there. And now it has really worked out. I mean, to the point where I know it was sort of a mop-up game, but he goes for 30 the other night. He's wagging his tongue at people. He's being Baylor Shireman, which is awesome in at the NBA level. What does your mind go to first? You think about a kid from Aurora who was, throwing for several thousand yards in football, or the guy at South Dakota State or the guy at Creighton. You've really seen him at all of those levels.
Yeah, no, what we saw in that game was just full Baylor, just all the way out there, just taking outrageous shots and whipping the ball around. And like you said, wagging the tongue out there, celebrating, talking a little bit. Like, it was pretty cool to see like that version of Baylor on an NBA team or on an NBA floor. Just the freedom to go out there and play his game, and because like that's I mean, the thing that he's done to kind of earn this opportunity is just all in on the role player, the playing hard, the rebounding, like all those stuff. Because he hasn't, like, the shot has come and gone so far this season. He hasn't always contributed scoring wise. And he obviously had the broken finger or whatever that he played through for a stretch there that impacted him. But he just kind of leaned in and all the other stuff to the point where now he's having some stretches here where the offense has come around, and he has stepped up and hit some big shots and contributed that way. And that's kind of the thing about Baylor is just all the ways that he can impact a game. And we saw that like first year at Creighton, he got there and it was very much just role player Baylor, where he was kind of the superstar at the Summit League level, and then came in 10 points a game or whatever it was like that first year. And he was good, but it wasn't like an all conference caliber guy or whatever. And just went in there and found his place, kind of waited till he settled in offensively, deferred for a bit, like wasn't forcing a ton. And then that second year, that leap he took where, all right, like he's fully comfortable now. He understands everything about the system, his teammates and everything. And he just took over and took his game to a new level. And now we're kind of seeing that a little bit, even in this NBA season where honestly, heading into the year, I was a little worried just based on how things had gone in the preseason and some of the and Boston had kind of accumulated a lot of guys at his kind of like at the 3-4 like position. Seemed like there were some guys that were maybe playing a little bit more, or playing a little bit better in the preseason and early in the year, and I was like, it wasn't looking great, but he persevered, and now he's got a chance to actually be part of their playoff rotation for a team that is looking to go deep.
Of the guys that have come back for Creighton, whether it's Schwartz or Greer or McAndrew, Green, Trout, I name most of them there at that point. Who do you think is going to be most impactful when you think about the Alan Huss era of Creighton basketball? Beyond just even next season, like which of these guys you think is the biggest for Creighton to return for the future of what it could look like under Alan Huss?
I think it's Jackson McAndrew. And it just, if he can get healthy and take the leap that we were expecting of him this year, like he was supposed, like that's, I mean, we talk about the Owen Freeman situation and the point guard spot and all that, but like this season probably looks quite a bit different had Jackson McAndrew stayed healthy and had been able to like be the player that we thought he could be. Because like that's, I mean, he's the highest rated recruit Creighton's ever gotten, at least in the recruiting websites era. And that's a guy that you got 4 games of him and it wasn't even like he was a shell of himself in those 4 games. So, and this is a guy with multiple years left. If he doesn't absolutely explode, like you think you got 2 more years. So it's not even just this next year. So like you talk about like the future, like Hudson Greer has 3 years left. Obviously that's really, really important. Jason Green, just kind of what he means to the team and his versatility and the leap that he took this year as kind of a leader and tone setter and becoming more vocal. Like those things are all really important. Isaac Trout's a guy that's just is a great teammate and has a useful skill that you can kind of plug in there in certain situations. So I could support to get all these guys back. I mean, there's a reason that Alan Huss wanted these guys back. Even Shane Thomas has been a great practice player who's got out there a couple times here and there and really helps them from that aspect. But Jackson McAndrew, I think, is the one with the most upside and the quickest upside. Like if obviously missing as much time as he did, we'll see this offseason is going to be really important. We saw him start to like tail end of the season, start to ramp up some things with Jeremy Anderson in terms of return to play, rehab, shooting a little bit. Like it's starting to get there. So hopefully he'll have a mostly healthy off season where he can really work on his game and hammer some things that Huss identifies that like, hey, this is what we're gonna need from you this year. But that's a guy. I mean, this NBA radar, NBA potential. He's flashed how good he can be. And Huss said like the plan is to continue to play the let it fly style, and he's the guy on this team more than almost anybody else. Obviously, Austin Schwartz is not shy about letting it fly, and that's another guy who like they took a flyer on him last year, and the upside is pretty significant, and obviously he's got some things to work on, but he showed that he can really fill it up at the Big East level. So getting those guys back just as kind of the perimeter firepower is going to be really big for this team moving forward as Huss tries to identify and maintain a brand and the style of play moving into his era.
Creighton's still really active in the transfer portal, looking for a variety of different things at the moment. And still, I think, kind of casting their net out pretty wide. And so you start to pare down what they're looking for and what they need. You've checked the box as far as the 5 position is concerned, and you probably still want another guy there. Maybe could do some different things than Oswin. And then I think your attention maybe goes to point guard right after that. Knowing the pieces that they have in place at the moment, even though it's not a complete picture, what is the style? Like, what kind of point guard should they be on the lookout for? And given that you already kind of have heard the names that have been swirling around and have taken visits, like what kind of player do they need at that spot?
That's the interesting thing, because like you look at the names they've been connected to, and there's kind of a wide
quite the mix
players.
Yes.
Yeah. So it's hard to get a read on what they really want. Like Ravi Lula and I kind of recorded just a recap of the start of the portal and looking ahead. And what we talked about is like at that spot, like in our minds, you have to get somebody that like checks at least 2 of the 3 major boxes of a plus shooter, a plus distributor, and a plus defender. Because like you watched last year, and Nick Graves, for the things that he was good at, he was not any of those 3. He did not check any of those boxes. It was just too inconsistent from that aspect. You need a guy that you can really rely on to kind of plug in those holes. Like you can't have a guy out there that just limits you so much. And like obviously last year, like Graves struggled defensively, and you put him next to like Swartz and Harper and guys like that. Like you just didn't have a chance to compete defensively. You got to have someone at the point of attack that can hold up a little better. Obviously, adding Oswin as some rim protection limits lessens that importance a little bit. Obviously, you'd rather still be really good at all 5 spots defensively. But like you can maybe get away with not having another like really good perimeter defender if is a guy that can really make up for it on offense. And we saw last year just how much the ball stuck in his hands and in Graves' hands, and how it didn't. Just the playmaking was so inconsistent. Like you need a guy that can really get all these guys involved. They talk about McAndrew and Swartz and kind of the firepower and the working Greer in there a little bit more. You need guys that can set these guys up. And Oswin isn't a guy that you're going to play through in the post.
Right.
He's a guy that's very much going to rely on others to set him up for his offense. So that, and then obviously at Creighton, the ability to shoot the ball at a high level is something that will always provide a lot of value and is important. So ideally, you need someone. I mean, you get someone that does all 3, then you're looking at like probably one of the best players in the country. But ideally, if you can, you try to get someone that can check at least 2 of those boxes to kind of allow Creighton to really lean in and play the way it wants to without having to give up too much.
Jacob Padilla from Herd at Sports. All right, Jacob, we will let you go. Always appreciate it. Good luck to your boys tonight. Enjoy.
All right. Talk to you guys later.
Jacob Padilla from Herd at Sports. You can check out all the stuff there in Creighton and in the high school scene as well. He'll probably even write a blog about the Suns or something like that.
Late night.
He'll definitely
blog.
be doing a bunch of tweets.
I was curious if he was up there in Sioux Falls for volleyball this over the weekend, and then of course I'm guessing he'll be there for Nebraska Creighton when they play at DJ Sokol.
I would imagine so. That is a good question. Looks like he was doing some AAU basketball this week. It is AAU basketball season.
It's hard to take that man out of the gym.
Even if it's trading for a volleyball court, Terraflex, you got to keep him on the hardwood.
He's staying there
at all times. All right, we'll take a break, come back, round things out after this on 1620 The Zone. A question on the text line from Gus Mohawk. Random question. Does Creighton versus Nebraska have a trophy for baseball or in any sport? If not, what should the trophy be made of?
Just put a bird on on Herbie, Gasker.
What if you did some sort of whack job combination of Billy and Herbie, half Billy, half Herbie?
Yeah, that's what I was kind of saying.
This probably says more about me than anything else, but I want to figure out a way that Buc-ee's can be involved. The alleged new Buc-ee's.
It goes right in the middle.
Yeah, it's
Get
like halfway
the
through on
beavers off
I-80.
to the side
It's
waving.
not really the midpoint, but it's not that
It's about there.
terribly far from being the
I mean,
midpoint.
depending on where you live in Omaha,
It's
it
right,
could
right.
be.
It's
Yeah.
right by Lenoma, over
Yeah,
on Highway
so
6.
I kind
There you go. Put the Lenoma Lighthouse in the
The
middle.
Lenoma Lighthouse series between Creighton and Nebraska.
And Billy and Herbie are just, they got their dukes
yeah,
up
I like this.
and on each side of the lighthouse, of the Lenoma Lighthouse.
And the lighthouse is made in such a way that the light hits the different part of the glass on the top and it shoots pores out.
What an
all
interesting
over.
idea. So to answer the question, Gus Mohawk, no, there is no current trophy. I don't know that there's any plans to, but we could dream.
We could dream.
Watch and dream, as some would say. And that's what we're
this
going to
just
do.
opens the door for the $5 bits of broken chair thing that
Oh yeah, I think Mo
remains
Blaney
very
kind of
much,
started it.
Which is nice now because it goes to
yeah, it's a charity thing.
it's a charity.
I appreciate the efforts that have gone into it.
Charles says a giant half red and half blue hand in the shape of a middle finger.
Oh.
Or you could do interstate themed, of course, big.
Put a light right along I-80.
I'm just
Brought
imagining.
to you by the I-80
I'm just
Club.
imagining like the I-80 shield. You use the I-80 shield, and then, I mean, some of it's red and some of it's blue anyway, because that's what interstate signs are. And then
Now imagining a replica car that's like half red, half
I'm
blue.
thinking Austin Jacobson's big game chain,
Okay.
and someone gets an I-80 logo and they hang it around their neck after the end of the game.
I don't hate that.
That's not bad.
That's pretty good. You give it to the player of the game in the I-80 series.
Yeah.
And then they get to wear it.
Last week it would have been
Maybe they're required to wear it in the next game in the series. Like they have to wear the heavy chain.
interesting. Yeah, like when Nebraska won a couple weeks ago, would have been Jay Sean Unger.
Yeah.
Give
You
it
would
to
have had
Jay
to
Sean
pitch
Unger.
with that chain on. That's the rule. You have to wear the chain.
And then you're in worse shape to win the
Yep.
next game.
It
It leads to parity
would.
in the rivalry. Good idea.
His pitches would just not have the same zip on them if he had the chain.
And we leave you with this. Today, this is brought to my attention. Do you play any of the Immaculate Grids?
I used to do Immaculate Grid a lot, and then like all of those games, I stopped one day and then never played it again.
So today on the football Immaculate
Okay.
Grid, the options are Bills, Jets, Bengals vertically, and then Bills, Bucks, Dolphins horizontally with a 10,000-yard career passer at the
Okay.
end. Every single answer in the grid could be Ryan Fitzpatrick.
That's fun.
Which you can't do because you can't use the
You can
same
only use
player
them once,
twice.
Yeah.
But every single answer in the grid could potentially be Ryan Fitzpatrick.
I want to watch you fill this out now.
I just wanted
That'd
to
be fun.
I just wanted to see if I could put in Ryan Fitzpatrick a whole bunch.
You could,
but
you can
I
only do it
can't.
once.
It wouldn't let me. It wouldn't let me do it. Bucks, Jets, you could do Revis. Didn't Revis
Yep.
play for the Bucks?
Wasn't
Wasn't he a
Yeah.
late stage Buck?
Darrell
maybe. I don't-
Revis.
Yeah.
I don't
I'm
remember
not
him on the
sure.
Bucks.
I know he was on the Patriots and Jets.
Yeah,
Oh,
I
Patriot.
think he
He
got
was a late
traded-
stage
yeah.
Patriot.
I don't remember him with the Bucks though.
Yeah, I guess not. But no.
Yeah, he played one season for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
Revis.
Okay, look at that.
All right, we're putting Revis in.
I was thinking Keyshawn Johnson could have went there.
Revis 16%. Bengals, Bucks.
Bengals, Bucks.
Yeah, he played in the 2013 season.
There you go. Late stage Revis.
Bengals and Bucks. Those are not teams I even think. Have they ever played a game against each other?
That's a great question.
It just
I wouldn't
doesn't-
watch it if
It
they
doesn't
did.
seem like there's any crossover between Cincinnati and Tampa.
Yeah. No, it doesn't. It really
There
doesn't.
might be.
So yeah, you could put that together if you want. And if you find yourself in a sticky situation, you can use Ryan Fitzpatrick because he could potentially be an answer for every single
He
square.
sure could.
He's been everywhere.
He has. He's played for all of
I
those teams,
remember
and he
with
threw for
Cincinnati.
10,000 yards in his
Wonder
career.
when that was.
It was late. It was
Oh, I could get this.
Fitz.
Obviously, the rest of those teams I remember, but
So he was. Oh, actually, it was early.
Yeah, it was 2008.
2007, 2008.
okay.
He was a backup
That'd
in
be why. That's before he
2007.
really did anything.
First 2 years at the St. Louis Rams and a season at the Bengals, then 4 years at the Bills, 1
Bills.
year at the Titans, 1 year at the Texans, 2 years at the Jets, 2 with the Bucks, 2 with the Dolphins, and then 1 season with the Commanders.
The Washington Football Commanders.
He only,
Wow.
he only threw 6 attempts, completed 3 passes.
Who would he have been the backup for that year?
Heineke probably.
Yes.
that
probably.
sounds right.
Taylor Heineke started 15 games. Garrett Gilbert started a game. Dear
Wolf.
God.
He might have been a third string in that
And
season.
Kyle Allen played in 2.
Oh man,
Woof.
That is a bad quarterback room.
Taylor
Good
Heineke
thing
famously
they now
brought the
have-
Commanders to the playoffs in 2020.
That might be the worst quarterback room I've ever seen.
That's a bad quarterback.
39-year-old Ryan Fitzpatrick might be the best player in that room.
And they didn't even want to play him
And they didn't even want to play him. They
because
played.
they had Heineke.
Heineke was kind of okay for like 5 games.
Yeah, they had he led the Commanders to win that depleted NFC East in 2020 before losing to Tom Brady in that wild card
Yeah,
game.
That was the game where the Eagles didn't try to win.
Yeah, I remember.
Um,
I remember that. That was
yeah.
a Sunday night flex game for
Very
week
cool.
17.
Of course. All right, folks, we're out of here on a Tuesday. Enjoy the baseball tonight. Remember, listen on 1620 The Zone with me and John. If you missed anything on our show today, 1620thezone.com is where you can find it. The crossover's coming up next.